Hey guys, welcome to today's eyeshadow declutter video. I did an eyeshadow declutter probably about 4.5 months ago. But if you are not new to my channel, you know that I have been hauling a bunch of indie brand shadows. And I just thought to myself in doing these multiple haul videos, there are so many better formulas from indie brands than some of the palettes that I really haven't touched that are mainstream, that are drugstore. And I felt like another eyeshadow haul was in order so I can really be serious about the palettes that I'm going to want to reach for. I have not filmed this video yet, so I don't know where this is going to take me, but we're going to go over the single eye products. We're going to go over the eyeshadow palettes. I'll even show you guys all the stuff that I hauled, even though that won't be the main source of my decluttering. It's going to be some of my older stuff. But that is it for the intro, you guys. We are literally getting into the declutter right after this intro, so let's get to it. All right, here are all of my singles. Actually, this isn't all of them. There's a couple more. There's a bin of sticks, and then I think there's a couple more in like the bottom drawer because I had overflowed the drawer that these were in, and there are so many here I don't grab for. Let's just start kind of going through them. This one is totally stuck. In fact, let's start with this bin here that's mostly all of my liquids. I mean, there's really only like a couple formulas in here that I actually really enjoy. I think that the NYX are really good, these glow shots, the ultimate glow shots, but I do not find myself reaching for like shades like this. They are pretty, but they're like solid pigmentation. And it's like, you know, not enough, I guess, sheen or shimmer for me. And it's just not like a color I would wear all on their own. However, these last like all day. It's a really good formula. Like they're very blendable and they're very opaque. And again, they last all day because they do dry down. They're a nice formula. It's just realistically, I'm not going to reach for these, so I'm going to let these go. I do like all of these multi-chromes from Moira Beauty. These are the multi-chrome shadows. They're nice. I don't know if I'll reach for every single one of these shades. These are a drier formula, so they actually work pretty well. Like they dry down pretty nicely. I don't see myself reaching for like this kind of flip. I like this one on the lid because it's a little bit lighter. I want to say this one is my favorite one in Jewel of the Sea. This one right here was in Space Cadet, and then the next one was in Artemis. These are like a whole collection. I bought the whole set, but oh yeah, this Jewel of the Sea one is stunning. So pretty. It's like this purpley gold flip. So I'm definitely going to hold on to that one, and I'm going to hold on to this one. Okay, so this one right here is in the shade Prima Donna, which I do really like. It's like a gold pigmentation, like inside of this pink. This is a shade that I really enjoy. This one right here has like a goldy flip to it, but like pink also. It's really interesting. It's in Helios. I like this. But I have like these two that are also similar to this, and I would rather just use this shade because it has like a stronger base than both of those other ones. So I'm going to get rid of this one right here, which is like mostly a yellow flip. The camera's not really focusing on my hand. This one is in Estella. So I'm gonna pass that one along. I like this one because it's like a peachy gold, which is in the shade Chameleon right here. Like I really like this one. You know what, now that I think about it, I can get rid of this one. This one is so similar and it's just a little bit more flippy. So I'm going to pass along Base Cadet, and then I'm gonna hold on to the other one, which is Prima Donna. And then here, yeah, like these three white shades, I'm just like, I'm going back and forth. Like I really like this one. I don't think I need the other ones. So I'm gonna hold on to this one, which was in Chameleon. And then I'm gonna pass along these three because I don't see myself reaching for lighter bases like this. Now I'll keep Sea Star. This one right here, I don't even remember. I think it's this shade right here that I swatched. And then I will declutter these four because I do not see myself needing like repeat shades like this, and the corresponding ones are just a little bit better. So I will pass those along and then hold on to the other four kind of corresponding shades here. Whew, this is a rough start already, you guys. I'm dropping them all over the floor. It's crazy. Okay, so the two RMS Beauty eye lights, look at this, I'm already super stained. I absolutely love both of these. I have Halo and Strobe. Both of these are super gorgeous. I'll just swatch like one of these for you. They tend to like kind of come out when you take off the lid, but fortunately like these don't seem to be totally too pressurized, so mine have been all right. These are nice and creamy and blendable, but then once you're done like blending them out, they do dry down. They're absolutely gorgeous on the lid, and I don't think that they're too textured, so I am gonna hold on to both of those. Already made a mess here. Okay, so for some of the liquid shadows, some of these are better than others. Some are more textured, some aren't. These are all very like shadows, I would kind of say, in terms of like formula. These Moira ones, the super hyped liquid pigment, these ones have a little bit of sparkle in them, are absolutely gorgeous. And they're pretty flat on the lid. They're not like extremely untextured. This one is in extra sparkle, but I'm definitely holding on to that. The one in Half Magic in ASMR, the Chrome Addiction liquid eyeshadow and liners, I do not love this shade. Like, it's pretty, but it does mostly have sparkle and kind of lacks base. And it's this really warm toned kind of undertone. I like the formula because it's a little bit drier. I don't know, that one's gonna be a maybe. Let's look at these Stila ones. I have Kitten Kaleidoscope in the Glisten and Glow formula, which I don't think I love the Glisten and Glow quite as much as I love the Glitter and Glow. This one is Glitter and Glow in Kitten Karma, which I prefer more. Yeah, it's just, for some reason, I like these little tiny gold flecks in here more than this one. So I'm gonna pass that one along and hold on to that one. And then this one here is also a Glitter and Glow. Yes, and this one is in Diamond Dust, which I'm indifferent about because it's mostly sparkle. It doesn't have a huge base. So I think I'll pass that one along, and I'm just gonna hold on to this little one because honestly, this little one is my favorite. All right, I have two e.l.f.s and they're both different formulas. So one of these was just their metallic liquid shadows, and the writing is so small, like I can't see what shade this is in. I really do like this, except that it's not like the most hooded eye friendly. It doesn't dry very quickly, so it's a transferring liquid, but I do not need this one right here. This is one of their glitter shadows. All right, I just adjusted the brightness so you could see it a little bit better. I just don't love this because it doesn't have a super strong base, so I'm gonna pass it along. And then these three are all sort of drugstore. The Winky Lux is a little bit more expensive. It's the Chandelier Shimmer Shadow in Bottle Pop. It's really pretty, like it's intense, but it's a little bit textured on the lid. It's just a little bit of a thicker shadow. Let's swatch these two, because this L'Oreal Brilliant Eyes in the shade Diamond Drop is also a little bit of a textured formula. It's a little bit more whipped, so it's not like overly smooth. I think, I might want to hold on to all of those. This one was a limited edition release. I'm pretty sure the CoverGirl Exhibitionist. It was like a collaboration with Kelsey. I really like this one because this one is such a thin formula that doesn't like have any texture on the lids. I think I'm gonna hold on to like all of them at this point since I'm doing such a good job decluttering. All right, this last little section here, I love these Dazzle Sticks from KVD. I just bought another shade too. This is in Force Field. I think these are so underrated. Like, it's this really cooling feeling going on the skin, and they're pretty intense. And they're nice and creamy when you first start working with them, but they do dry down, so I'm gonna hold on to it. I've held on to this little guy. I like these Milk Makeup Chalk Sticks. I just, I don't find myself like reaching for it, but it's so pretty. It's just weird and cool and unique, and I think I'm still gonna hold on to it. I've decluttered about half so far, so I feel pretty good. The Give Beauty is pretty, it's just not intense. And like for this packaging, quite honestly, I like something just a little bit more intense on the lid. It's like a moussey texture. I don't like reaching for this formula because it takes so long to dry down. And I hate these little lids. They drive me bonkers. It's so pretty once you swatch it out, but yeah, realistically, I don't even play with this like at all. So I'm gonna let it go. These two from Danessa Myricks, the Color Fix, they're nice to have, I think, if you're looking for a matte like single pigmented shadow. I have one from the nudes line in Nude 3 and then one from like the blushy line in Latte. I like both of these and they're multi-use products too, so I'm gonna hold on to them. One of the fractal eye paints from About Face in Tin Pan Alley. I feel the way that I feel about the Give Beauty. Like if I was gonna keep one, I feel like it would definitely be the Give over this. This just isn't intense enough, and this one does transfer on me with my hooded eyes. Now back to the Half Magic Chrome Addiction in ASMR. I don't know. Am I gonna hold on to this? It really is a lot prettier like once it gets to the eyes, but I have powder shadows that I like more than this, like just more intense of a base. Good formula. I think it's just for me, kind of a baseless shade. I don't know. For some reason, I'm just into a more intense base at the current moment. So here is what I'm going to get rid of. And then here's what I'm gonna keep. So I actually feel like I got rid of like half. I mean, I don't feel bad about this at all. Like this is definitely more manageable. Let's move these along. Oh, and then one of these fell on the floor. So that I'll get later. All right, let's go through this next bin here. I have a bunch of Moira, but it's like just a hodgepodge of different shadows. Okay, there's actually a ton of different formulas in here that are honestly some of my absolute favorites. They are not bad at all. Coming down to shade-wise though, I think is going to be the consideration. Do I love all of these shades in some of these formulas? Okay, so let's get into it. Let's talk about Merit. I know I'm gonna hold on to these because they're fairly popular and I think they perform good, and they're my only matte cream shadow. So I have Studio and Social, and I remembered that correctly. Look at me go. Yeah, because they're my only matte cream, I'm gonna hold on to both of those little bad boys. I have one of the Infinite Chrome Flakes from Denona, and I feel like you have to have one of these in your collection. And I kept this little thing on here, so I feel like it's probably still doing good. Come on, yeah. It actually has a little bit of creaminess left in it. This was in the shade Disco, which was like limited edition. So she doesn't have this exact shade still available, but I'm gonna hold on to it. The one from Flower Beauty, the Chrome Crush Pressed Pigments, I just picked up another shade, which I don't have right here. I think hold on, here it is. This was one of the ones that was like in the bottom drawer because it's already overflowed. This one is in Topaz, which is such a beautiful shade. I don't even know if I can swatch it with these nails. But this one in Quartz, I'm gonna try. Oh, wow. That's a freaking disaster. It's a little bit light. Yeah, I made a big old mess trying to do that. Wow, I think I just adjusted the lighting way better. I just moved the light to the side and I feel like that looks so much better. Anyway, the one in Quartz, the one I just damaged, honestly, it's beautiful, but it's a little bit light. And I talked about picking up that Topaz one, which is a shade that I love wearing on its own, just because, where is it? Right here. You know, it's a nice little brownie tone for like an all-in-one. So I am actually gonna pass along Quartz while it's still good. And then I'm gonna keep Topaz, so bye. All right, let's talk about the Sephora ones. So I've had other Sephora ones in the past, but I have decluttered them and have only kept these three, because these were my favorite shades and finish. These are the colorful Metal Effect eyeshadows. This is To the Moon and Back. You know, these really matter what shades you get. They change dramatically in terms of formula and finish, depending upon the ones that you get. And these three are just my all-time favorites. And they still feel creamy too. Like they are really so pretty as like singles. Anyway, I have decluttered some of the other ones that just weren't as intense. This one right here is in First Light, which is like a goldy flip. It's broken though, it's like totally smashed, so I'm not gonna open it. But then this pink one is in the shade Oh Baby. So yeah, I mean these three, and I have tried a ton of different colorful shadows from Sephora. These are probably my top favorites from this line. All right, conversely, let's go Ulta. The Lustrous Foil eyeshadow is kind of crazy. This is a sparkly, beautiful shade. It's a hot mess though. Like you have to rub this in to get it to lay flat. I'm gonna hold on to it though. I do really like the effect. But the bouncy cream eyeshadow from Ulta is basically like a sparkly wash. Like, it's pretty, but do I ever reach for something that light? Only when I'm wearing like a colorful liner. I like it, but you guys, realistically, I never reach for it, so I'm gonna pass it along. And then I'm holding on to my Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. I really like these and have not found a comparable formula, even though I tested one that I thought was gonna be a dupe that's gonna go into a speed reviews, but it's not as good. It's not as refined of a formula as the ones from Charlotte. These are just beautiful, like super creamy. Oh, they're so, so good. Like, yeah, hello. Anyway, I have Oyster Pearl and then Pillow Talk, which I feel like are two of the most popular shades. So I am for sure holding onto both of these. I have the infamous Space Cowboy, the Moon Dust Shadows from Urban Decay. It still feels good. I mean, it's such a popular product. Like, it's beautiful. There's so many other ones on the market that are kind of similar, but I'm still gonna hold on to it because it feels good. I have two from Victoria Beckham, the lid lusters. I like these. The yellow one because it's so special in blonde, which is not something a lot of people like. They probably don't like this like yellowy, flippy shadow. But I love a shifty yellow. That's what made me fall in love with these shadows, honestly, was that yellow shade. So I'm for sure holding on to that one. But this one here in chiffon, so underwhelming. And it's such a drier formula too. And it's such a newer product. Like, you guys, it's so, I don't know. Like, I would expect for a price like this, it even looks dry in the pan, that it would perform better than this, or it would be a little bit more intense and creamy like this one. It isn't. It's always kind of underwhelming, and I feel like I have so many other punchy shadows like this. I'm gonna let chiffon go. I wish that I had loved it more because I got chiffon after I had blonde and loved blonde so much. Okay, this one is older. The one from Hourglass, the Scattered Light Glitter Shadow in Aura. Can I even touch this? Like, I don't know if this is still like performing. Actually, yes, it is. It's like a powdered base. So I don't know. This is, I thought I was gonna get rid of it. I took off the little thing like a long time ago and this still hasn't dried out. It's actually really, really pretty. Okay, all right, I'm keeping it. All right, well, I have one of the Moira Lucent Cream Shadows. This one is in the shade Infinity. I would buy more of these if I needed more or had more capacity in my life because, hold 5 minutes, because I think this is a really delicious formula that's pretty intense, that stays, that's like highly reflective. Like, I definitely prefer this over the Hourglass Scattered Lights, like just way more intense. Anyway, I'm keeping that one. And then I have one from Wander Beauty that is the Double Date Eyeshadow Duo. So it does have a cream at the bottom, like a matte cream. Oh no, this one has a little bit of sheen to it. This is actually a really beautiful formula and they layer nicely on top of each other. I'll just swatch the like shimmer. So it's actually gorgeous. Nobody talks about these, but this is a really nice formula. All right, I have loved this one for so long. The Lawless All a Dream, and I feel like she still has this on her site. I just don't know. Do I need this? Because I have her Bio Glitter that was limited edition that I freaking love. Where is it? It's somewhere in here. I just prefer her Bio Glitter over this. This still feels so creamy though, you guys. I just almost never reach for like lavender shades like this. I do not. I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna let it go. Eyeshadow is genuinely the most difficult thing for me to declutter. Doesn't matter if I ever reach for it. It is still the most difficult thing for me to get realistic with myself about. All right, I got this one for holiday, but it wasn't a holiday release. It's from MAC. This is the Amber Lights. It's the Frost eyeshadow in Amber Lights. It's actually gorgeous all on its own if you're looking for like a warm tone day. Yes. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep that. Now all of these Moira shadows, I don't know. The shadow pots just didn't have a really strong base for me and they didn't end up being my favorites. I mean, I love them. They're just like really, really glittery. Oh, I knew that was gonna make a huge mess. They're like very, very chunky And they're not all the same. Like some have a stronger base, but some sheer out and they're just sparkles. I mean, I like them, like don't get me wrong, they're just not what I was expecting. The way that I feel about their even more new releases that are similar to the Moon Dust. I can't remember what they are. I don't think I've put them in a speed reviews yet. So they're not in this set here. And I wouldn't get rid of them anyway, maybe one shade, because I just like overcommitted to like this bright green. Let's look at all of these shades because I thought I was going to fall over and like die when I got these, you know? I thought I was gonna love the formula. I mean, they're not bad, you guys. They're not bad at all. It's just that some of them, like, when you start buffing them out, like they're mostly just glitter. Here's what I thought that they were gonna be like. Like here's the Pat McGrath, what are these called? Chromolux Artistry Pigments. This one's in Copper Siren. Actually, let me kind of swatch a similar shade for you. This right here has a base. And okay, it's a darker color, like I get it. But the base pigment is gorgeous. And it's like, I don't know, it has like sheen to it with not as much sparkle. This just looks super sparkly on the lid. And usually I love stuff like this. It's just for whatever reason, there just isn't enough base that translates. While this, when you buff it out and just wear it on its own, is freaking stunning. So yeah, anyway, I thought that these were the Moira ones were gonna be a little bit like the Chromolux from Pat McGrath. But in terms of formulation, I honestly prefer the Pat McGrath ones more, where Moira usually like takes the cake for me. So I think I'm not ready to part with like every one of these yet, but I'll get rid of the white shade. I think, is it yellow? Let's swatch it, because if it's yellow, that's a no. She's not going anywhere. Oh, it's one of those white gold. You guys, I can't. Okay, never mind. That's why I got this one, because it shifts yellow, which is my weakness. It's my absolute weakness. So for now, they'll all stay. Okay, you guys, I did an absolute terrible job. I only ended up getting rid of four from this whole section. I know. We will do better, but I told you guys, this was definitely a section of really decent single shadow formulas. Pretty popular ones too, I would say. There's a hodgepodge again in here. Oh, here's the Lawless. All right, I'm gonna try not to mess around at all and be super honest with myself in this round here. So I never mess with loose shadows. This is from the Pastel Roses and it's pretty, and I did use it for a couple of things, like as you can see, this is in Lavender Dust, but I literally never mess around with shadows like this, and I think this would just sit for the moment when I might need like a loose shadow, but I don't need it. I don't need it. Let's go through the two Colourpop. I think these are the only, oh no. Let me pull this one out over here. I have only held on to 3 Colourpops. Yeah, 3. So I have Ladybird. I think I really like all of these. Ladybird is just like this silvery deliciousness, like highly intense silver reflect. I'm trying to talk today. And then I heart this. I'm trying to think, do I love this one? I feel like this one has a nice like taupey base, and that's why I held on to it. Yeah, it's pretty. And then you guys know Ritz probably, right? Ooh, that one feels dry. I don't know. Oh, so pretty. Yeah, I had other Colourpop ones and I have decluttered them, so I'm gonna hold on to these 3, even though Ritz is starting to feel on the dry side. I'm still gonna keep these. Okay, let's go through, here's my Lawless, the Bio Glitter eyeshadow, which I wish she would bring back. She did like a limited edition release of this. You guys wait, just wait for this golden delightfulness. I'm gonna actually pull this back out into my rotation for my everyday makeup. Look at how freaking stunning that is, you guys. I'm telling you, she had this on Sephora's website for like 5 minutes. Okay, maybe it was longer than that, but anyway, it's totally gone. It is absolutely stunning. I'm holding on to this. I'm telling you guys, I need to pull that back into my everyday makeup, which I think I'll do for June. That's a really like pretty light, summery spring shade. All right, let's go over my Chantecaille, which I'm just not over the moon about the Chantecaille formula. I think I was the first time I tried these, but I don't know. You know, when you're into like super intense, shimmery goodness, this just seems like overpriced, I guess. Like a little bit for, you know, what you get here. Like I didn't fall goo goo gaga over the second shade that I got. So I want to say I had Zebra first or Cheetah. No, I had Cheetah first. And then I picked up Zebra, and Zebra's like this formula to me right now is just like, compared to some of the other ones, just immensely underwhelming. I'm gonna get rid of Zebra because I never reach for this shade and it's kind of shifty and I don't love it, so bye. But I'm gonna hold on to Cheetah. All right, a non-eyeshadow is the Moira Dreamlight highlighter. This one is in Starlit, yes. But you guys, these could totally be used as eyeshadow. Like, oh, I'm not ready to like let this go yet. I bought the whole set of the highlighters, so this one is just more of an eyeshadow because it's too deep, but I feel like all of the other highlighters that came out with this collection I can wear, so I'm still gonna hold on to it. All right, I think these are they coming back? Is she coming back? Did she drop these in her permanent line? These are from Charlotte. These were the Hypnotizing Pop Shots. I had Sunlit Diamond and Lover's Diamond, and then I think there were 1 or 2 other shades that came out. You guys, I actually really liked these. It must just be something about like a really nice base that has like a decent shift to it that I just really enjoy. A lot of people were like, overpriced. Can't you say that about Chantecaille? You know, like, get out of here. Stop that. And they still feel really good. Actually, this one feels a little bit on the dry side. Gotta warm it up. Okay. See? Like, they're intense. They have good base. They look so flattering too. Like on, they just look so freaking good. So I'm still gonna hold on to both of those. Now, these ones from M Cosmetics, I have loved this creamy formula for a long time, but the more that I use them and that my preferences change, I realize I'm not a huge fan of how textured they make my lids look. I started with this shade in Luna and went back for this shade in Moonrise. And one, I don't love Moonrise. One of these nails is gonna come flying off, you guys. I don't love Moonrise as much as I love Luna. Something about, I don't know, the reflectiveness of Luna that I really like. You know, when you swatch these, they look so beautiful, but honestly, can you see like every line under my skin? Like, look at this. That's kind of what the lids look like. I need to play with these a little bit more before I decide if they go. Like, these probably need to go with the Bio Glitter into my everyday makeup rotation so I can find out whether or not I want to keep these. I'm just not sure right now. One that I'm pretty sure I can get rid of is from Viseart. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong. It's the Prismatique eyes in neutral eyes. The thing is, it's just half a product is usable for me. So the top half is the cream base, which already looks like it's separating, you know, from the edges a little bit. I just didn't get to use it enough. And this one is not unique all on its own. It's pretty, and I would keep it, but like, I don't think you can take this off, you know? It like kind of comes together. Let me feel this cream. Oh, it's still creaming. It's still creaming. I don't love this over top of this. Yeah, this just looks a little bit muddy on me, and it's not like the easiest thing to blend out. It locks down, but it's not the easiest thing to blend out. I'm just talking myself into the fact that I just need to let this go. Like, I think it was a really decent product. I think shade-wise, probably not practically delicious looking on the eyes. And honestly, I have reached for that like recently. So I happen to know that I didn't love the tones on me. Let's go over Patrick Ta. So you guys, these came and went in about 5.5 seconds, and they were a glittery topper. They're called the Make It Major Multi-Dimensional Eye Topper, and it's giving luxury and then it's giving rich. These came and went on Sephora's website in a day, and they did not come back. They're just a glitter, like a loose glitter, but they're really pretty. Like, if you pour some out and then you rub it in, they turn into like just a sparkly deliciousness. I don't know why he yanked them. I think maybe people were like, what the hell is this? Like, why yank them so quickly? You know, where did they go? Like, why I don't get it. Why did he discontinue it? I don't know. For now though, I'm gonna hold on to it. These are ones that I would like to use. You know, when I was saying like I like to use like kind of a glitter, like the Ulta, the bouncy cream eyeshadow, when I'm using like a colorful liner, that's what I think these are good for, and that's why I like to hold on to them. I have one from Mob Beauty, which is weird. It's a weird formula, and this is actually like getting harder. This is meant to be, I think, like a multi-use product. Like it's not just eyes, it's also like cheeks too. What do they call this? The Sparkle Balm. I use it as an eye product, but it's pretty sticky. It's kind of a harder pressed formula. Now that I warmed it up, it's a little bit better. It's actually really pretty, like I'm not gonna lie. And I like a lot of Mob Beauty's. Nah, shit, I'm gonna hold on to it. You know, when I first started swatching it, I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna get rid of this one. I feel better about this section. I feel like I did, oh, I've only done 3 so far. Okay, whatever. Okay. These ones from Jaclyn Cosmetics, I have hunted down. Okay, I'm not letting these go at all. These are so freaking good, and I'm so sorry you cannot get them anymore. These are called this Shimmer Top Coat. Guys, let me just swatch one of them. I'll just swatch this one. These are incredible. Like, they're so freaking good. I hunted these down on like Poshmark and Mercari. Like, whomever had them, they're like, is that underwhelming? Oh, on the eyes, I'm telling you guys, these are stunning. They're stunning. Here, let me do my favorite one, which is not Glisten. It's this one, which is surprising because it's like a super deep shade, but it is, Okay, now I'm just getting my nail in here. Oh, please swatch. Great. Okay, there you go. It's like gold in the pigment. It's like a reflective, these are so good. They're actually starting to feel a little bit dry since I got them. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. These are totally discontinued. She doesn't even carry these, or didn't carry these even when she was still selling stuff. But I will not be getting rid of them at all. I told you Icicle, and then this deeper shade here was in Frozen. I still see there are some people on Poshmark and Mercari that like still have these available. Oh, that was my favorite shade. This one is in Glisten. I feel like there were 6 shades total that came out. And then this one is Glassy. Yeah, these are honestly, these are so stunning on the eyes. The way they perform and the way they buff in, and like the gold reflect is special. All right, let me see if I can't like make room for these plus the other ones that were like sitting on top in the other container. Okay, no, but I tried. So out of those 2 containers, I ended up getting rid of these 6. Is that 6? No, it is 7. Yeah, okay, that sucks. I suck. Let's go over the next one here. This one has like a sticky bottom, so I don't want to put it down all the way. Let's get this squared up. Okay, there's some here for sure I can get rid of. All right, Steal a Kitten. Okay, it's a classic, great. But you guys, it is 100% like a, I don't know, like a boring shimmer that I have in 3,000 palettes. So nope, I can totally part with that. I have one from Half Magic that honestly isn't, like, it's just a single, and I think made because she doesn't have palettes. Like, it's pretty, don't get me wrong, but it's not extra special, I don't think, but I'm still gonna hold on to it for the time being. I have one from L'Oreal. What is this called? The Color Riche eyeshadow in Pain au Chocolat. I think something along those lines. I like this one. I feel like I ended up getting rid of one of their other formulas. Oh, this is so light though. Like, do I need this? I like having drugstore options, but no. I won't reach for this. Like, how similar is it to like normal shimmers that you have in palettes, you know? And I'm mostly reaching for palettes. Like, occasionally I will reach for a single, and I want it to be something extra special, so I'm gonna let it go. I have a single matte from Kiko, which is fine, but like, I have mattes, you know? I never reach for like singles like this, so I'm gonna let this one go too. I have, oh, here's the other one that I thought I decluttered from L'Oreal. This is one of their, oh, I forget what these are called. And I don't know the shade either because CVS does this thing. This is pretty, but again, I feel like I'm not reaching for like light shades like this on the lid as much anymore. Like I want a more reflective base like normally. So I'm gonna pass that one along too. Not that it's bad, it's just honestly not what I'm reaching for. This one from Ritual Defeat, wish I could love more. This one is in Fauna. This is even a bigger opening than they originally had. And for me, like that's not even enough, you know? Like I cannot get my normal finger in here. This is one that I'm gonna have to test again too. Cause I think it's not as reflective as I thought it was gonna be. It kind of reminds me of this one. But like, why pay this price if you can pay this price? So I don't know, that's, let's just see on that one. That'll have to go into an everyday makeup rotation. I have a MAC Dazzle Shadow Extreme in Discotheque. I like this one. It's like one of their more, I think, kind of reflective shades. So I'm gonna hold on to this. I need to like put the MACs together. Okay, some other time. This one from Ofra is like a sparkle topper. Sparkle Lights Topper in Glisten. This is like the equivalent of the Patrick Ta in a pressed powder version, you know, not like just a sheer glitter. But this has a little bit of a stronger base. I like this so much more than the bouncy one from Ulta. Like, if I just want like a sheer wash, again, like if I'm doing a colorful liner, so I think I'm gonna hold on to that. And then I'm going to keep the rest of these. I don't think I'm gonna swatch every one of these, but I will show you guys. So from Half Magic, it's the Glitter Puck. It hasn't been my favorite because the formula has been a little bit wet, so I'm hoping it dries out. And this one is in the shade Dopamine Sparkle. These ones from Pat McGrath, I told you, the Chromolux Artistry Pigments. I have Midnight Temptress, which was that purple shade that I swatched for you earlier. I freaking love these. I don't love the like binding oil that's in them. They stink like a full-on cleaning product. And then this is Copper something, Copper Siren, I think. These are freaking stunning. Yes, Copper Siren. And then I do really like the Shiseido single. This one is the Pop Powder Gel Eyeshadow in Zuku Brown. It's actually a really nice, pretty creamy formula. Like if you're looking for like a single that has a decent base, not overly light reflecting, like this is good. This gives me the feels, so I'm gonna keep it. So many freaking shadows. All right, Kulfi, favorite cream formula probably right now that has some sheen to them. So this one is Disco Dreams, which, all right, arguably not a shade I reach for all the time, but there's just something about this. Like you can actually pick this up. Like if this were like a Jelly Much shadow, sometimes the Jelly Much shadows just like move the product around, where you can actually pick up product with this one. And listen, I feel like this is such a refined formula that's so similar to like the performance that I get from like a Charlotte without being like a similar formula, if that makes sense. Anyway, I think these are freaking stunning. They're not overly textured on the lids. I'm totally keeping them. This is Auburn Aura Sitara Sparkles, which is my absolute favorite. I'll show you guys this one. I don't know. There's just something like gold in the pig. You can tell it's my favorite. Something gold in the pigmentation that's absolutely beautiful. Bronze Brocade. Yeah, okay. And then this one is Disco Dreams, if I didn't already say that. But anyway, I am keeping all four of these for certain. Okay, I condensed it down, but here's what I ended up getting rid of from like this little section. I'll show you guys like the final declutter total and all of that good stuff kind of at the end. So let's move to my sticks. Okay, I totally lied. I had a couple more. Here's the Moira ones that I actually really do like. What are these called? The Chroma Light shadows. So I have Renegade, I have Sugar Crush, which is really similar to Moon Dust from Urban Decay. And then I have Sunstone. I like all of these. I had the green one in this formula, and I think I already put it in a pile to declutter it, so I don't need to do an extra declutter. It's already gone, but I'm keeping those. And then this Kaja one is one of the Beauty Bento in Coral Sunrise. I had a different Kaja stack, but I replaced it with this one because that one, I don't know, it was like a little bit deeper, but like this, so pretty. It's like simple for travel too, but it just has like these gold sparkles in it, so I'm gonna hold on to that. And then this one from Moira, you guys, is freaking stunning. It's one of the Starstroke Chrome loose powders in, what shade is this in? Lunar Lullaby. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite. Like, I didn't think I liked loose powders until I tried this. I would totally get more of these from Moira. Here are all of the sticks now. I think I'm gonna be pretty ruthless when it comes to these sticks because there are some formulas in here I do not care for and I just won't reach for. So, Bobbi Brown and Laura Mercier. Do I have more than this? No. I have 2 from Laura, Dusty Mauve, and what is this one? Oh, sorry, 2 from Bobbi Brown, Golden Pink and Dusty Mauve. I love both of these. The thing is, like, the formula on these is just so refined. Like, I get the fact that these are more expensive, but how they perform on the lid is like perfect. They blend perfectly. They have good longevity. They're both like super neutral shades too, so I love the formula on those. Same thing with the Laura Mercier Caviar stick. Like, the way that they just perform is like super simple and easy. And this one is in, where the heck is the shade? Amethyst. Love this one. Now, all of these ones from Luxaza I got in PR. They're supposed to come, I think there's 6, right? Yeah. They were supposed to be like a set, and they come with little brushes on the end. So they come in color stories. And you can basically like create a look out of all of these. And while I think this is a decent formula, a lot of these are like matte. Ooh, you guys, that's so creamy. You see what swatching does? I don't know. These are all like actually really blendable. I don't think I'm gonna hold on to this deep shade. Let's just swatch them out because I think that's gonna matter for me. I think this one is just stunning. This is like a shimmer shade. It's kind of pretty. I don't know, let's think about it. This one is like a full white, right? But I don't know. I just don't use it. It has like a pink tinge to it, which I don't love. Let's test this matte out. Oh, yes. I like these matte ones. This one and I like all 3 of these, I think. And then this final one here, I want to say is like my favorite. Where am I going? Like shimmery one, kinda. Do I like this one or this one better? I think I like this one better, so I'm gonna let this one go. So I'm gonna pass these along. These are actually really cool. Like, they sent these to me. It was like my first time receiving PR, and I thought that maybe they wouldn't be that good, but I think they are really decent. And the brushes on the end, like for travel, like you can even see that I've used this one. They're actually really good. They work really well and I like using them. So I'll hold on to, I'm doing my piles backwards, those, and declutter the ones over here. Now, I have this one that came in a set from Pinky Rose. It's the Jazz stick, and I think it comes with like a base stick also, Jazz and base. But I don't find myself reaching for like a shade like this, even though I like this formula. So I'm gonna pass that along. Milani, listen, Milani, you guys, everyone loves, the table's not perfectly straight. Everybody loves these. How come I don't love them? I'm gonna have to give these another go. You know what it is? These are super patchy on me. Like, they always come out once I start blending them, like super patchy. This one is better because it's a light shade that you can like not blend if you just wanted to lay it all over. It's really nice. What shade is this one in? Blossom. And then this one, which ideally is such a gorgeous color, it just blends like shit in Canon. I'm gonna test these one freaking final time. Okay, this is actually like a highlighter, right? From NYX, the multi-use face stick, and it's a jumbo, but I was using it for my eyes because I actually thought it was really pretty. Can I get away with it? As like, look at how much glitter I have on me. As like an eye product forever? I don't know, I'm gonna try. And then Luxaza sent these to me as their updated formula to those sticks that I was showing you guys, but they're not in shades that I like, even though I like that other formula. Honestly, it's just creamier. This is like a full black shade, which is like a liner basically, but I have gels. I almost never reach for this to like smoke out. So yeah, I mean, just not a shade that I need, I think. And then this one's like a charcoal-y color. This is like a gunmetal color. And it's nice. Do I need this? I might hold on to this shade actually, because it's kind of cool. Not a bad formula, but these are not as creamy as their original formulation. I want to say I'm pretty picky when it comes to like sticks, because I think it has to be like this perfect balance. Like if you do a shade that's a little bit darker, I'm probably going to blend it. I'm probably not going to just lay it on my lid by itself. So it has to be creamy enough for me to start blending, but then it has to dry down after that and not look too textured. And I don't find that they get that balance right all the time. I don't think Sephora did it either. The reason I kept a hold of this one was because it was more of like a shimmery shade that you could just place all over the lid and then like leave it. But guys, is it similar to Colourpop, which I love, by the way? This one is in Socialite, which is metallic. Is it similar? The Colourpop formula is far superior, I think, to the Milani ones, and I've decluttered some other ones. The Rare Beauty ones I didn't like. Do I need the Sephora one? I'll hold on to both of these, but I'm gonna declutter this one from Essence. It's the Blend and Line eyeshadow stick. Like, it's not great for blending, but it is good for like lining. Like, it has a bit of patchiness. Like when you start blending it out with a brush, it doesn't like to stay. That swatch was nice, but I prefer it more as a liner. I literally never reach for like this to smoke it out. I'm like trying to blend it with my finger. It doesn't blend great with a brush, like I said. But I think it blends nicely with a finger if I'm trying to do like a smoked out look. I'm telling you, shadows are my absolute weakness. Some of these I'm gonna have to put back into rotation. So out of this whole thing, I only got rid of like these 5. So not perfect, not perfect. Okay, so I have a couple of singles. I'm not getting rid of any of them, but I will show you guys them next. Okay, so this is from Divina Cosmetics. So I've gone through all of these. These are more like metallic foiled shades, which I absolutely love. These are like, I don't know, sparkly and then like fire. So I love them. This is Unicorn Tears from Clarity Cosmetics. You guys, let me swatch just this one for you. This is freaking gorgeous. Oh, it's not even doing it justice. Like when it gets to the eyes, so oh, it's so shifty. So I did declutter a lot of the singles that I had. I probably like got rid of 4 or 5. I don't have that many. So I feel like it was a decent amount that I did end up decluttering in December. But this little palette here, how can I not? There we go. I'm trying to figure out a way so you don't see the mirror. This has a, what is this called? Glitter. I don't even know if it's on the back. No, this is Made with Love Cosmetics, I think. And it's just a glitter shade. Then I have some Odin's Eye from the old or like original launch. I like them. I don't know how like the new formula compares obviously, but I don't know if I'm in love with them. The way that like I am with some of these other ones. Like these ones from Divina, stunning. These ones from Cleona, stunning. This one from Clarity, great. These kind of, I mean, they're all similar toned, but this one, you know, it doesn't like have a super strong base. It's not foiled or anything, you know, it's just kind of shifty, which is cool, but I don't know. I don't know. Ooh, I like that one. But some of these other ones are just a little bit chunky. They're all different textures is the thing. Yeah, see this one? I don't know if I absolutely love. This is right now like on my everyday makeup drawer, but I haven't like touched some of these. I've worn these two like the last couple of days actually, because I wanted to get some more use out of my Cleona one. I guess these are just all different textures, and so I guess I just never make up my mind about what do I love them? Do I not love them? I think if I was gonna get rid of anyone, actually, you know what? Let's do it, because I'm not reaching for this weird chunky thing. Like I'm just not. Like I have so many other like better formulas. This is not bad. It's just, it's not for me. Let's swatch this one. Yeah, see this one is a shifty, that one's pretty. This one's probably my favorite. Yes, yes, yes. All right, I'll hold on to these 4. And then I will get rid of that other one that is underwhelming, that I know what will happen is I will full on ignore this shade right here and just go around and grab the other ones. So, I mean, might as well just get rid of it now. Now my Cleona ones, oh, stop it. Stop it right now. These are from the stained glass collection, I'm pretty sure. Look at this one. I love like the shift of green to purple to like yellowish gold. Like the Unicorn Tears one is pretty similar. It's absolutely stunning. This actually comes out yellow. Like when it gets to the eyes, it's like mostly reflective yellow, but it's almost purple too. Anyway, these ones are all gonna stay. I'm just gonna get rid of that one. All right, these are all of my minis. They're not all of them. I have some that are new that are like still behind me. But most of these are like the smaller palettes. And there's some formulas in here, you guys. I know for certain I can get rid of, that I can just part with, because I fully ignore a lot of these. And even though I like having some for reference, for example, I almost never do that. I almost never pull things back out for reference. All right, let's go over Rowan. So everyone fell head over heels for the 1111, but for me, it was so freaking dry. Like I keep holding onto this and then I never reach for it. Like, why don't I love this the way that other people do? Maybe like this shade is like the only one that I kind of like. I think it's a harder cream formula to work with. I literally do not find myself enjoying the way that this looks. It looks a little piecey on the eyes. That's how I feel about it. Should I do this in like I need to test it one final time? I mean, I feel that way because of its price point, where I don't feel that way about some other things. It's always the more expensive stuff that you spent your money on. Like, is it something that turns into like a hidden gem and that you're gonna absolutely end up loving it? Because sometimes that happens for me. I absolutely will go back to something and go, oh, my preferences have changed and I really enjoy this now. So maybe this. But the e.l.f. Cookies and Dream, Cream and Sugar. I don't need this. I have had other ones. There's other formulas. If I was gonna grab something for travel, it wouldn't be this. So I'll pass that along. The LA Girl 4-Play eyeshadow in Feel Good. It was cute. It came out last year. It has like one satiny shimmer, one sparkle, a matte you could use for blending if you needed to set the eyes or something. Like, this is not a deep enough shade to diffuse it out, but I could see it being nice. I have traveled with this, just something quick to throw in my bag, but I don't need it either. So I'm gonna hold loot. What words am I saying? I'm gonna let it go. The two Revlon color stays, Enigma and Maverick. I think these are good, but I never reach for them because of the pan size. I think I've held on to them too, again, for the sake of saying like, I have drugstore eyeshadows. But if I'm not gonna reach for them, like especially this, I don't like the pink purple color story. I would rather, if I'm gonna reach for one or keep one for reference, that it be this one, because this is like a more complete look for me. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get rid of Enigma and hold on to Maverick. I have one Hermes. Is this a quint? No, quad. It's all right. It's not, I'm not hating it, you know? This is not the most intensely pigmented thing ever. The shimmer is probably the nicest thing in here. I haven't reached for this since I tested it though. It's not bad, it just wasn't the color story that I wanted, but these sold out so fast. I got a cancellation notice essentially, and they told me like, your palette is no longer, like the one you want is no longer available. So I went and picked this one out. I'm gonna hold on to it for now because it was so damn expensive, and Hermes pretty recently launched their beauty line. So same thing with Prada. I wanna say I liked the Prada more though. It just had more intensity to it. It was more like creamy and cohesive a look. I would not say that this shade was representative of what was online. Like, look how much nicer Prada's swatched. It's almost like a cream formula. So I'm gonna hold on to that one because I like it. I'm gonna finally let this one go from Makeup Revolution. I'm trying to like wipe and talk. I have held on to this because it's a really neutral color story, and like some tones in here that I really like, and it smelled delicious, but I genuinely never reached for this, so I gotta part. Same thing with Colourpop. Like, I like this formula, really creamy, really nice. Love both of these shades. Also have traveled with this, but I literally never reach for it when I'm traveling. Like that's not something that I think of reaching for. And honestly, this Prada one would not be bad to take traveling. Like how creamy was that? That thing was great. And I don't know, I'm just not like over the moon with Colourpop these days. So I'm gonna pass that along. My Mini Pro palette in Sparkling from Lorac goes nowhere. Look at her. Cool toned Dream, yes. And Kiko. This was one of my favorite palettes of 2023. So boring, so neutral, so perfect. It's gotta stay. And M Cosmetics. Guys, I've never been a fan of this freaking formula. Why am I so different than everybody else? To me, it was so light and like, meh, meh. Like I was like, why are these so expensive? I haven't reached for this in so long. I'm gonna give it another shot. So for now, I'm getting rid of these ones from that little basket, and then I will hold on to these ones. But yeah, look at that. It like totally cuts it in half. I mean, this doesn't take up like a huge amount of space, but still, I don't ever touch those ones. All right, let's go over these other ones. These are my Viseart, one Chanel quad, and then my Tom Ford quads. Let me just take these out. They're just not as intense as I really like. One of these I think I really do enjoy. And most of these are like limited edition anyway. Why do I always forget it's not Patrick Ta? This one's like, it's all right, you know? Like I'm not over the moon about it. I always keep these things on here, but I feel like that's so unnecessary. This one is in Honeymoon. Like all of these are satin, so they're not super intense. They're not terrible. It's just that, I don't know. I think I should want to get rid of that. You know, I guess say that now, but like, what if I want to sell it or something? I'd rather just keep this on here. I think I'm pretty picky when it comes to the Tom Ford quads because like luxury brand shadows, I still want to be impactful. And like with Tom Ford, it's a hit or miss. Not all of them are created equal. I like this one because of this mermaidy shimmer. Hello, these are so hard to get off. This one right here is super stunning and it's like a duochrome too. It's really nice. This one is in Pretty Baby and I feel like all of these perform pretty well except the mattes are just super light toned. So I mostly keep it for that shimmer. You know, that's just unusual for Tom Ford to do something like that. I think personally, it's a nice little shimmer to have, I think, from Tom Ford. And then Leopard Sun. I want to say the mattes in here probably perform the best out of like all of the ones that I have because they're like true mattes, you know, they're not like satins like a lot of his other shades. And this is not like a terrible shimmer. It's a little bit glittery, it's a little bit dry. It's not terrible, but you know, it's different. So I think actually this is a pretty round collection of Tom Ford. There's like one or two things that I kind of like about each one of these quads. So I'm gonna hold on to them. I wouldn't even mind traveling with these quads either. Like to be honest, I wouldn't feel bad about it. I have had other Tom Ford quads though, and they're, again, I don't think they're all created equal. So I think the three that I have are pretty good. Then the one quad that I have from Chanel, opening the wrong side, is like an all kind of shimmer palette. Maybe not shimmer, but it's like, yeah, these are like shimmers, right? Like metallic shades. They're actually really pretty for Chanel. Only palette I've had or tried from Chanel, but I think it's pretty decent. I feel like the lighting is terrible. Oh my gosh, I literally could have just opened the window. Stop. Okay, here is all my Viseart. I did a pretty good job in December getting rid of the ones that I wanted to get rid of. The newest collection that I had was the Lotus collection, I think is what it was called, and I did declutter all three of those palettes that came in the collection. I really didn't enjoy the formula, and I felt that they were like really powdery. And I know that a lot of people say that about Viseart shadows, but I find them really good and exceptional for everyday wear. But those ones I felt like were totally different and I didn't enjoy them. So I don't see myself getting rid of any of these. I just wanted to make that disclaimer. But here is the other chroma light shadow from Moira Beauty in the shade Good Fortune that I found that I am going to declutter because it's just a green shade that I will not reach for like all on its own. I think I will, but if I'm gonna go for a green, it's because I have like other shadows in the palette, like matte shadows that I'm gonna pair it with. I can't even open it, so I'm just gonna like leave it there. It's really pretty, but I don't wear greens like this on their own. Again, I would wear this with like something in a palette, so I'm gonna declutter that one. All right, let me just show you these, because again, I'm not likely to get rid of any of these ones unless I open it and I'm like, meh, meh. All right, this is the Petit Four in Garnet. Took the sleeve off this apparently. These are all shimmers and like this one that's like a setting shade, but it's really pretty. I've worn these shimmers all on their own before, so I thoroughly enjoy the formula of that one. And the Petit Pro Trois, kind of different cool tone color story with the greens. I mean, you actually could get like some looks out of the columns themselves. I don't know what I did with the sleeve, but maybe I never had it. I have the Petit Pro or Petit Pro. Like this color story though. This is more like a deep, fun color story. Can I get rid of this one? The Petit Four Amelie. No. This is a warm tone delight, and these shimmers are so freaking creamy and delicious. Like, yummy, yummy, yummy. That's the kind of like Viseart that is simple and great, and you can take these little quads traveling. This one is a different color story for me, the San Francisco Etoile. It's not something that I find like massively cohesive because of this shade, but I could pop it out, you know, and like put a different shade in there for like a full warm toned look. So I'm gonna hold on to it. Shall I keep saying that? I don't know. The London Etoile, nice. Haven't used this one that much. I can like easily tell I haven't used this one that much, especially because these have mostly dark shimmers in them. All right, this one is freaking beautiful, and this color on the outside of this package is so deceiving. It's the Violetta. Like, why is this the same? Like this shade and this shade, not the freaking same. Like, I don't know, this just looks different. Like this looks more purple and this is like way more burgundy. So I'm not sure why it's inconsistent, but this freaking shimmer right here is stunning. It's almost like the one in Tom Ford, the Oh Baby palette. And I told you guys I love shades like this. And this is like my kind of color scheming too. I don't think I've even used this one, but I've been using like these three. So I for sure am holding on to this one. It's one of my favorites. And I think this one is also a little deceiving. Let's open it up. The Lila Do. Like, I don't think that this color and this color look the same when you're, yeah, they just don't look the same to me. This is a lighter, more desaturated color story, but again, everyday wear. I'm telling you guys, I'm not just a collector. I started being a collector because I really enjoyed the formula. Spritz Edit. One of my favorite freaking warm toned summer delicious delights, because these shimmers again are really freaking yummy. They're yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy. See the simplicity there? And the mattes are really rich and blendable. And though sometimes I feel like you can get some duds out of Viseart, they're not above duds. The Soleil La Plage is a fun, I would say spring and summer. I actually want to pull this out. Should I pull this out? This looks so yummy right now. I might pull this one out. This looks delish. The La Marat. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these correctly. This one is kind of similar tones, you know, if I'm being completely like honest with myself and looking at them. And it's like a fully warm toned palette too, but still you could tell I've like dug craziness in there. I enjoy most of these, even if they're not color stories that like are 100% cohesive. Just the formula in most of these is good. Kashmiri, if you want a cool toned dream, yeah, like right here, delicious. Are you focusing? I don't know, but that one goes nowhere. And I have one more that's a newer release. Hold on. Here it is. This is the Florette Bijou. I have not even tested this one. I don't think this is their most recent release, but it's pretty freaking new. I think, yeah, I haven't even swatched it. It has the 2 cheek colors in here, which I think is actually cool. And I'm totally excited to test these on my cheeks because I've never tested a cheek formula. But also this shade right here looks stunning. I'm not even gonna swatch it. I got this on like the Ipsy drop shop or something, but I wanna say this was like a release like 6 months ago. Like, am I tripping? I might be tripping, but I don't think so. So I didn't declutter anything from here, which I did not think I was going to. Okay, that's cohesive. That makes sense, right? Minus this one because it's still on my vanity. Not my vanity, but my table where I get ready, like my makeup table. Okay, we are all into the larger eyeshadows at this point. Oh, I just showed you this one. These are all of the ones that were with the Viseart that are on my tabletop because I'm still testing them or I'm using them for my everyday makeup because I like to do that, especially with newer palettes. I want to get like at least 5 looks out of them. So even if I have used these and they've gone into like a speed reviews or a ranking of all of the eyeshadows that I've tried, I still keep them there until I'm completely done. So that's what this first one is. It's from Sugar Rock and I got it on Sea Beauty Mall. It's intense. It's the Extravaganza Legend palette. The mattes in here are basically dookie. They're very, very thin. The only one that isn't thin is this one right here. It has like really decent texture to it and pigmentation, where the rest of these are like really thin. They just don't hold pigmentation very well. They overblend like considerably, but the shimmers here, like they're deliciously delightful. Am I in frame? They're all really good and they're all a little bit different. And I'm trying to use the shimmers a little bit more before this palette goes away into the drawer. So all of these, same thing, you guys. I'm not getting rid of any of these, but I wanted to show them all to you just so that you guys could see. Essential Nudes from Moira. You guys, I have been using the crap out of this. This is so simple and stupid, but I like having neutral tones sitting on my vanity for the purposes of like creating just a simple look that I can grab for mattes like this just to throw into the crease. I've been like dipping into this one, this one, this one, this in the outer corner. I think I've even used this one. These are just great tones for me to use when I want to pair it with a shimmer and I just need something quick in the crease. But I've only used this for the mattes at this point. I want to test some of the shimmers. I have other Moira palettes. It's just that this is like a totally different palette type. All right, Gourmand Girls. I have more than just this one. This is their all shimmer palette, Radioactive. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I mean, like, it's rich and like buttery and light reflective. I have not played with enough of the shimmers yet. I have played with this a little bit, but not enough. It hasn't gone into a ranking video yet, which I like to do. So I want to try like at least 5 more of these shimmers because I've touched this one and maybe that one so far. And I haven't touched any of these other ones on my eyes. So that stays also on the vanity. Look at the leftovers. So yummy. Okay, this has gone into a ranking. This is the Reckless Romance palette. I'm gonna back this up a little bit from Beauty Bay, and it is nice. I ranked this pretty darn high. I think I love the mattes more than I love the shimmers, if I'm being honest. The shimmers are super creamy when they come and then they start to like dry out as they sit on my desk. Like, can you see that? Like some of these are more creamy than others. And they're just different formulas too, but yeah. So I always try and use the palettes I told you guys 5 times. So not done with that one yet. Gloomy Gardens from Diaveroon Cosmetics. I did a dedicated video on this, so I've only tested it that one time. Look at this deliciousness. Like you can totally make looks with like these columns here. Just, I don't know, just really pretty. All of these performed really, really well. All right, and then the last 2 that I had up there were from Ace Beauté. I put these in a haul video, which I will talk about all of the palettes that I hauled and they're in my collection, but none of them are going. So you're gonna see just like a bunch of palettes that I'm not gonna let go of for that reason. It's the Classical Paradise palette. I really enjoy all of the Ace Beauté formulas that I've tried. So I picked up these two palettes, this one and this one over here. So I'm interested to test some of the other shimmer formulas and the other matte formulas and some of these other palettes. I keep them in their box, you know, like before I use it. I can't see myself like making it permanent until I've touched it to my eyes the first time. Oh, but clearly I got rid of this box, so much for that. These are such vibrant shades. Stunning summer and spring palette. I've swatched this, but haven't used it. All right, we're done with those. Okay, let's go over this section. So all of these palettes I just put into my most recent video, which was an eyeshadow haul video. It was installment number 3. All of these came from there, so I'm not getting rid of any of these. This is the Garden of Love palette from Shine by SD. Hopefully the lighting is good. Little Deliciousness. Let me show you. I think it's, I need to show you. Like these two. Oh, the sparkliness of these shades in real life is stunning. I don't think I'm gonna be swatching a ton of them because I would literally be here like all day, I think. All right, Artitude Cosmetics, the Obsession palette, Obsession. I did a swatch on this last night when I was filming the video. Some of these are incredible, like really, really good. All right, Salem Cosmetics, this is the second palette that I have from them. This one is Grunge Life. I'm pretty sure I loved the swatches of the other ones so much that I wanted to get another one. And I don't think this disappoints. Like, I really think some of these shimmers in here are like just super special. All right, Titanium Foxes. It's the Poppy Quiet palette, which I think is actually a fairly new release from them. In looking it up, they still have it on their new page. So there is the color story. Some of these are really shifty. This Jewel Beetle is like a stunning little shifty shade. Can you see that? It's like green to, I think, purple, if you can see in the mirror. I also think this is a fairly new release from Micah Beauty Shop. I hope it's Micah right there, Micah, and it's not Micah. But the quality of this seemed absolutely amazing and reminds me a lot of the Sugar and Spice palette from Glaminatrix. Did I mention I think this is also like a fairly new release? I think it was listed on their new page on their website, but this is an older palette, the Forever Young palette from them. And I want to say this is inexpensive and or it was on sale. So maybe something they might be discontinuing. Fun little spring palette, right? Isn't that so cute? All right, one from MBA Cosmetics. This one was a defect palette. It's Pumpkin Kisses and Autumn Wishes because some of the lettering down here at the bottom came off, Fireside and Woodland. So it was like half off or more than half off. But the formula feels really good. You can clearly see I was obsessed with indie brand shadows, and that's exactly the reason we needed to do this video, is because like all of these now need to get love and I need to move along the ones that just, they're not as impressive. All right, Colored Rain, Queen Bee palette. Look at this. Ay, ay, ay. Can you like see how rich these tones are? So good. The swatching of this one was incredible, like incredible. This was one of the richest swatched palettes that I had last night. This one is Safari Rain from Colored Rain. A little bit more of a lighter color story, more desaturated overall. It's just a lighter color story in general, but hopefully I enjoy that. And then maybe this was my favorite one swatching last night. It's from Kaima, K-A-I-M-A Cosmetics. I hope I'm saying that right. The Skulls and Roses palette. Maybe I don't need this box anymore. The Metallic Multichrome Eyeshadow palette. Honestly, for these all being multi-chromes, this was not as expensive as some other palettes. You know, like Ensley Rain comes out with like a gazillion dollar palette. It's like $90 because they're supposed to all be multi-chromes. I feel like this was much more affordable. I could be wrong, but I'm feeling like this was like in the $50 range, which like makes sense. Stunning though, you guys, rich. And look at this Charm shade. You guys know, because I've already told you, these, stop it, stop. I just finished swatching this last night, but Yeah. Shall we do a hypothetical declutter on these ones? Because these are all of the palettes that I've tried so far this year. And I don't declutter any of these until I've done like an official ranking of all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried for the year. But I will tell you which ones I would get rid of if this were a declutter of these palettes. But I can't get rid of them just yet. So, Gourmand Girls. This is in collaboration with Surya Soto. It's the Warriors Wear Pink palette. I would not declutter this. I do like it. I think that the matte tones come out differently on the eyes than they look like in the pans. Like some of them just come out, like this comes out like almost a bright pink where it's like this deep red, but I like the formula. Now, Menagerie Cosmetics, the Arthurine palette, this one definitely has me a little bit perplexed because, no, it's not this one. It is the Killer Purr palette. I do like this one. I do like the shimmer formula in here. Like, it is really sweet. Like, look at that. Like, they're just so creamy. The matte shades, though, they don't blend out the greatest. I would not say Menagerie has my favorite matte formula. I have these two, this one, and I feel like both of them kind of give me a similar vibe. The Killer Purr palette has some really awesome looking shimmers. Like, especially this one right here, you guys. It is freaking stunning on the eyes. Like, it's so gorgeous. It's like a tealy green. But these deeper mattes, they suck at blending out. They're not good at all. And again, the blendability is not the best that I have seen ever. The Cosmic Brushes Muse palette, these aren't even my favorite mattes either. They change tone. This looks brown, but it's burgundy. This looks greenish, but it comes out like bluish. And some of the shimmer formula is like, some of it's really creamy and then some of it's like on the drier side. So actually I had a wet finger, so both of those were pretty decent. It's not a home run here. I feel like I get like a little bit back and forth with this palette because I reach for a shade and I'm like thinking it's gonna come out one way and then it doesn't. And it might be like this one that's just like a little underwhelming and piecey. Yeah, not a super strong base. I don't know. It's a little inconsistent for me. Like, I wanted to love the heck out of it, but I don't think with those couple of things, I fell in love the way that I thought I would for the price point and the color story. Anyway, I would totally declutter this one from Charlotte. It's her Queen of Luck palette, and it's a new release from her. I don't know. It's just really dry and underwhelming for me. They're all different shimmer formulas, but they're so like light. It's just not my thing. I've got to stop swatching these or we genuinely will be here all freaking day. Okay, I'm definitely going to try and resist. So these ones I would definitely get rid of, the two creamy palettes from Huda Beauty. These are not what I thought that they were going to be. They are not long lasting. They are very creamy, but they crease and they fade like crazy. They're just, I don't know. To me, they're not great quality. And both of them perform the same. Like, neither of them are very long lasting. And some of these shimmers are like chunky, you know, and just they don't like lay evenly on the eyes, and this one's a little bit of a drier formula. So this one is the warm neutral brown and this is the grayish. I would technically declutter both of those. I would also let this one go from MAC. This is their Love Struck Luck palette, I think, yes, that they came out with for Valentine's Day. I just changed the lighting a little bit, but this shade completely hard panned on me. This is the only matte in here, and these shimmers are so like dry and boring. So I would totally get rid of that one also. The Makeup by Mario, like, it's okay. I think a lot of people like this. It's the Master Mattes, the neutrals, but it's a lot of warm tones. And this shade right here totally creased on me. Like, I have really hooded eyes and like this extra skin on the outer layer. Oftentimes a powder shadow can do it also, but especially a cream can like get into my folds and then it becomes a void wherever my hood is. That's what this shade does to me. So this is not my favorite like matte formula. Sorry. I mean, if you didn't have hooded eyes and you didn't build depth in the outer corner and that didn't happen for you, or maybe you set your lids differently, then fabulous. I find that this is overpriced for like the Moira one that I was showing you guys. Similar tones, does a similar thing, doesn't have a black or a gray shade in there, but it has similar tones and it's not $55. All right, Clarity Cosmetics, the Deadly Rose palette. This is a fairly new release for them. It's a decent color story, but it has this one like crazy dense kind of pressed glitter over here. It's an interesting like formula from Clarity. They always seem to throw in something different in each of their palettes and I'm like, oh, that's a different shimmer formula. Pretty dark color story. This one I would declutter. This is from Black Moon Cosmetics. It's the Urban Myth palette. This just, you guys, look how cute this little mirror is. Like, it really is cute. And there's so many things I like about this. Like, I like the packaging. I like the color story. But these mattes, this one right here, you guys, turned into this muddy ass mess on me. And like, these are so dry. And it might not be like that in every palette. But like, they're not, like, this is stiff. It's dry. It's really, really dry. I'm telling you guys, if you guys had this palette and you liked it, I think I just got like a really dry one. It feels expired. I have this from Natasha, which is a fairly new release. It's the My Mini Dream palette, which is cool, but My Mini Dream has like burgundies, you know, and this one has none of that. It's a nice neutral palette though. I would keep it for like travel. Unearthly Cosmetics Spring Magic. I did a dedicated video on this and did 3 separate looks. It is not half bad. You get some nice multi-chromes and duochromes in here. The mattes seem to perform really well. And I will tell you, especially the blues. The blues are a trickier, I think, shade for me overall. Like, I always get a hit or miss on blue shades and whether or not they stain or they crease or they fade or they overblend. But these blues were the best performing out of this whole palette, in my personal opinion. Like, more so than like even this green shade. The blues were so good. I created a blue look that was probably my favorite blue look I've ever created. So I would keep that. This is the Mighty Monster palette in collaboration with Annette from Odin's Eye. I would say this one right here, like this is weird and chunky and kind of dry too. Like it's one of those that you gotta like go like this and then it's pretty. But it's still kind of piecey and weird. Like that one is not my favorite. But everything else is nice, and this is like this gorgeous, like chunky foiled, I don't know. Something about like when they're super chunky, but they rub in really smooth, I really enjoy. I think the color story is not my absolute favorite, but the formula is good. Mattes, usually Odin's Eye doesn't, like I have no issues with Odin's Eye mattes. It's usually like the shimmer. Is it dry? Is it not dry? Is where I get inconsistencies. The Give Me Glow Vintage Rose. I want to say this has even been redone again. Or this is the redone version, I should say. Because they used to have smaller pans. And now these are huge pans is what I think it is. But this is a stunning formula. Really enjoy the Give Me Glow Cosmetics formula. Could die. Just gag me now. See that Odin's Eye one? It's all shimmer. Like I don't like densely packed, kind of dry feeling sparkle shimmers, I guess. Anyway, this is gorgeous. I have another one from Give Me Glow and it's also super beautiful. I have the Flying Fiddles palette from Adept Cosmetics. I need to slow down on Adept. They just came out with the Amy Loves Makeup collab, and as much as I wanted it, I'm like, dude, I need to get more love out of my Adept palettes that I have now. I think this is really different. It's not a foiled texture. This is more of like those smooth shimmers. The mattes, I don't hate them, but I have to say they're thinner. Like you can tell Adept excels at shimmers, but the mattes feel like a very thin formula, and sometimes they get a little patchy, like especially this shade in here, which honestly kind of looks a little hard panned. I have not had this that long or played with the shadow that much, but it looks to have kind of hard panned a little bit. So I do really like this palette. It's just it's not my favorite Adept palette from them. Why did I say Adept from them? A palette from Adept. All right, the Space Chemistry palette from Terra Moon Cosmetics. This is weird. This is that all sparkle shade. Like, why even throw these weird colors in? Like, this is almost a mustardy color that doesn't look good with any one of these. This I like because it's like a pink cool tone, but these are all like sparkles. They're dense sparkles. They're not even like a shadow. It's like pressed glitter is basically what this is. This is not at all what I was expecting. Can you guys tell me if this is what Terra Moon shadows are like? Are they all like this? Because the fallout I get with this palette is wild. These are beautiful. They're just extremely hard to work with. All right, my favorite palette that I tried so far this year was from Krypton Cosmetics. This is their Burnt Forest palette. Stunning, gorgeous, beautiful. I can't even tell you, like, this palette performs so freaking well, and they're all different textures in here, but every one of them like performs fabulously, and it goes super light to super dark. Every one of these mattes is gorgeous. This is such a gorgeous palette. Look at the packaging too, it's so gorgeous. All right, I would absolutely declutter this one from Twilight. From Colourpop, the Twilight collection. My words are all over the place. No. Hard pan. Like, look at how hard panned it is. You can totally see it. These are like dry and weird and PC and not Colourpop's great formula. This one's probably the best one. Oh, that's like a weird glitter. But see how dry that is? Weird. This is just, is that a Super Shock? Like, I don't know what this is. Why are so many of my matte shades hard panned? They're super desaturated. I'm sorry, if you got a good batch, you got a good palette, this is garbage Colourpop, in my personal opinion. Garbage. I'd throw this out the window. The only thing I'd be afraid of is that it freaking hit somebody in the head. All right. The Hip Dot and Evanescence collab that came out last year. This is also trashola. This is so bad. These get so patchy, so patchy. This black ideally would be so good with like these shimmer shades, but this is dry-ola. Like, you hardly get anything unless you like dig your fat finger in there. This is actually halfway decent. This is super dry. Like, look at this. I barely get anything. It's not terrible. That's probably the best one. Pressed glitter that feels so freaking dry. Anyway, this was just trash. It was not a good formula in my opinion. All right, shall we get to more of the declutter? Shall I go through my permanent collection now? Or do you guys want to see the stuff that I hauled that I'm not getting rid of? Let's break it up. Let's do some declutter stuff. And then we'll get into more of the shadows that I recently hauled that aren't going anywhere that are part of my collection. But we'll start going through and decluttering some of the stuff that I want to in the larger palettes. Okay, I took a little bit of a break and now I am back. This is all of my BH Cosmetics collection, and I'm definitely gonna do some decluttering here because there are so many in here that I do not reach for, and especially if they're like monochromatic. So I'm gonna be as honest as possible. Let's go through these ones first, which are I can't remember what this series is called. I always forget what the series is called. But anyway, let's look at the color story. I honestly, like, you can tell I haven't used this that much, and these three shades are so freaking similar. And if I'm going for like a lighter shimmer like this, I have better ones. I think this one is a maybe because some of these I do really like, and I definitely really enjoy the quality of these. So I think it's just gonna come down to color story. This is Optimistic AF. Haven't used any of these like a tremendous amount. This one I definitely like more as a warm toned color story. Let That Shit Go is a nice green one, but again, you can tell I haven't used these all that much. There I am, hello. Okay, I think we'll keep this one. I think I have all of them. Low Key Love You. Some similar tones. Part of the reason that I keep these, like this one for example, like, I don't know, some of these shimmers are really kind of like everyday and pretty. And then Do Not Disturb. No, I won't reach for like a full color story like this very often. So I'm going to declutter these two. Like, they're pretty. It's just I'm really not reaching for pinks that much, and I have these tones elsewhere. So I'm gonna let these two go, and I'm gonna hold on to these three. I don't mind breaking up the set. Now let's go over the Birthstone series. There's actually quite a few in here I'm probably gonna get rid of. The Pearl, I don't know, it's pretty basic. I don't need it. Diamond April, again, it's like a one-toned look for me. Like I've never reached for this, even though I like blacks with other single tone shimmer. It's really nice. I won't think to reach for this, and it's like a sparkly black. I'm gonna let this one go as well in garnet. And citrine, I'm also gonna let go. I'm gonna let all of the ones that I have from the Birthstone series go. Look at me, I'm totally making decisions here. I just know I won't reach for those. Now these ones were the Poison Shot collection, and I only had 2. Scorpion Sting, I think it's too monochromatic, and I usually like will never think to reach for, I want an orange look, so I'm gonna like grab for these. Although I would say the quality of these is pretty good. Yeah, I really enjoyed the quality of both of these palettes from the Poison Shot collection. It's just, I'm so not into monochromatic looks very often. And even though you can do something like orange with a gold, I still will almost never, I think, reach for this one. Like these shimmers are good. They're just more, like what's the word I'm looking for? Light, I think. So I'm gonna let Scorpion Sting go, and I'm definitely gonna get rid of Nightshade because I never do a purple monochromatic look when I'm creating a look for myself. So that's gonna go. These two here, this one was obviously, you can see here, 100% of the net proceeds donated to Step Up. So it was probably a palette for charity. I really like the color story. It's just that these tones aren't revolutionary. I've really enjoyed the quality and the looks that I came up with this palette because it was on the neutral side, but I never reach for this anymore, so I'm gonna let it go. The Alondra and Elsie BFF palette, I have also really enjoyed this because it's so neutral. Let me swatch some of these to kind of see like how creamy they are. I have really enjoyed this palette because it's kind of like a different formulation than some of the other ones. I just felt like the quality of this was really good over, I mean, not that BH Cosmetics was bad in their older palettes. It's just that there was something really good about the quality of this particular one. So I held on to it. I have a feeling, like I have an emotion about it. Not that I know who the collaborators are, but I think for its neutrality right now, I'm gonna hold on to this one since I've decluttered so freaking many at this point. Now let's look at these 3, which are the Weekend Vibes. And I wanna say I did declutter one of the Weekend Vibes one back in December. Avocado Toast. I still think I'm gonna hold on to. There's something about the quality of Weekend Vibes that's kind of a step up in a lot of these palettes, and I like a lot of these tones, and I'm reaching for a lot of these tones, so I'm gonna hold on to it. Blueberry Muffin, you know, I literally never reach for shades like this, not on purpose. If I'm doing a look from a palette, like for a video, it's fine, but I'm gonna let it go. And then Mimosa is my kind of jam. I just swatched 2 shades like really close to one another, but they're still stunning. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. All right, this is what are these ones called? I can't remember the series of these, but this is Saint Tropez. I want to say I'm gonna keep the ones that like for color story really excite me. This one's different. This one's unique and you get a lot of different tones in here. You can do a lot with this. So I'll probably hold on to that one. Oh, Party in Puerto Rico. I have barely even used this. Like you can see the shimmers are highly untouched. I might hold on to this one. Lost in Los Angeles is like one of my favorite pastel palettes, and I thought I was gonna hate it, but there are so many different cool shimmers in here that like as a standalone pastel palette, it's actually really nice. So I'm gonna hold on to that. Passion in Paris, not a huge favorite of mine, which is funny because I am into much deeper tones at the current moment. But you guys, with all the indie brands that I have, I just feel like there's some similar shades in here. And if I'm gonna grab for something deep, I totally would grab for a different palette. And then Hanging in Hawaii is like the neutralist thing ever. And a lot of these tones are very similar, even in the shimmers. So I'm gonna let this one go as well. So I actually did pretty darn good. I knew I was gonna kill it with this one because there are color stories that I picked out just to collect, but then I realized like I don't reach for those palettes. So I'm gonna declutter all of these. These are the ones I am going to hold on to. So I've actually gotten rid of more than I'm keeping. Okay, these are some more of my affordable palettes. It was literally just the rest of the stuff that was in the drawers. I have all 4 of the shimmer palettes from Flower Beauty, and I'm not getting rid of any of these. Like, as far as like chunky foiled shades from the drugstore, these are freaking amazing. This one in Coastal Lights is the only one that has a very soft formula in 5 of the shades. This one is a little bit chunky, where these ones are like a softer shimmer. Most of them look, actually I think maybe all of these are kind of a softer shimmer. This one just broke on me. I think that's kind of why that looks like that. But the rest of these are all this foiled amazingness. Like, if you guys haven't tried these, I do think that they kind of texture your lid a little. So they may not be for everybody if you don't like kind of a foiled, more textured shimmer, but they are the best from like the drugstore that I know of. Like, super sparkly, but yes, it does like texture the lids, but I'm still gonna hold on to them. I don't mind them texturing my lids. I like a foiled sparkly shimmer occasionally. And again, they're great for comparisons for something that I want to say these are like $15.99. My kids are just screaming now because it's the evening time. So Jungle Lights holding on to, and then Desert Lights holding on to. This one from Essence is actually pretty decent. The Pumpkin's Pretty Please. And it was a release for fall time for 2022. And I thought that this was a better formula from Essence than I had tried in the past, but I'm just not reaching for it. I'm gonna let it go. Same thing with this. This came out last year and it was from the Buphoria collection from LA Girl. It's not bad. It's just not like, you know, revolutionary. And I have one other LA Girl palette. I might just get rid of both of them. Again, with all the indie brand shadows that I've been hauling, I can just tell you, I will almost always reach for those over these, even if I'm looking for something neutral. And this was like similarly toned in these 2 shades. And you know, there's some warm tones in here, and I even think that I had a little bit of hard panning in this one, so I'm gonna let it go. I have one by Pixie by Petra. Like, as far as neutrals go, you know, like an everyday kind of travel palette, I feel like the Pixie by Petra formula is really good. Just very satiny, like everyday shades. I want to say this one kind of looks like it's hard panned. This was one of my favorites. Like, I loved reaching for it, but swatching it, I'm so freaking underwhelmed, you guys. It's all the indie brands. They literally have spoiled me, so I'm gonna let it go too. This one from Believe Beauty, really good formula. You can actually wear these as like all-in-one shades. I'm having such a hard time opening these. Like, it looks like they're all maybe shimmers, but I don't think they are. Some of them are kind of like satin shades, but they're so freaking intense. Like, who knew Dollar General, okay, or Dollar Store, wherever Believe Beauty comes from, would be packing this kind of pigment. So why does my house sound like someone is literally breaking down the walls? Are your kids like that? I am filming this in the evening because this video did take me like a longer time to film than I was hoping, but you know, when you get to swatching and all that stuff. So my kids, you're definitely gonna hear them. I'm gonna hold on to this one though. And I would never get rid of this. This is the Service Eyeshadow Quad from Oma by Sharon C. From the more affordable line. This one is in Dreaming, is the color story. You guys, if you want rich pigmentation from the drugstore, because these truly do come from the drugstore, these are freaking amazing. As long as this formula doesn't like dry out. These are so good. They're so, ooh, I just did the wrong one. These are amazing, amazing quality. I do have the Oma Beauty eyeshadow formula in her like larger palettes, which they're the exact same formula. I don't think that she went to a different manufacturer. I'm just guessing to formulate this based on the quality of this. If you guys are looking for a eyeshadow and you're at the drugstore like Walmart or CVS, these are awesome quality, so I'm keeping that. The NYX Ultimate Paradise Shock. I held on to this one again because the formula in this one was better than a lot of the other NYX. Before I was rudely interrupted by my children screaming like bloody murder, I have tried other NYX eyeshadow formulas before and they were not my favorite. So I liked this one better and that's the reason I held on to it. So I think for now I will hold on to it. This one you no longer can get, the Rainforest Haze from Catrice, but they had some stunning shimmers in here. Like, again, one of those situations where like drugstore quality kind of matched some higher end ones. The only thing I don't love about this is that this shade here is really your only deepening shade, and it's not that great a quality. It overblends, it does get patchy, and it's super desaturated. It's just not intensely pigmented. Where if I was building like a darker green look out of just this palette alone, I would for sure want something super deep in the outer corner. And look at these two shades. What are you doing with this besides setting and then diffusing this color? But you don't need to. I mean, this just doesn't, it's not intense anyway. I don't know. Like, I have other greens. I'm decluttering so much. I feel like I'm on a roll. This one's a maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I feel good about how many I'm decluttering though. The LA Girl formula, you know, a lot of people said it was really good, so I wanted to pick this palette up, but some of these shimmers were just on the dry side. They're, you know, like they're okay for drugstore, I guess, but I think drugstore still does it better than this. So this was the holiday release. Oh, Dazzle All the Way. So I'm going to declutter it. All right, my two Milani palettes. I have Gilded Nude. I think it's good. Like, it's not a bad palette. Honestly, I think their formula in their shimmers is really super duper creamy. And it reminds me a lot of Sigma. I say that a lot. I think I'm gonna hold on to both of these. They're really good neutral travel palettes. Oops. And then Luster Light. I've really dug into this one. Like, you can see some of these shades are absolutely fire. They're stunning. They're sparkly, but they're still like super sparkly and beautiful. And I like a lot of these tones. I'm gonna hold on to this. Now, this one from Essence is definitely a really good shimmer formula. This is like a foiled Delicious Delight, and I honestly think it's like some of their best work. It's an all shimmer palette. They came out with a couple of others at the time they released this last year, and it was super underwhelming. The mattes were terrible, but the shimmers were good quality, so I held onto the all shimmer one, but I decluttered the other one. I think for now, I'm gonna keep this one. And then honestly, I was not anticipating liking the one from JCat. They also came out with this last year. It's the Chaotic Element Traffic Night Bokeh. They again have some really nice and creamy shimmer formula. Like, they're just way better than, okay, that one feels a little dry. Way better than I thought that they were going to be. And the mattes seem to blend pretty well. I don't know if this is like revolutionary. I think it's just kind of overall like a color story thing. Like, while the shimmers are great, I just don't see myself reaching for like a color story like this all of the dang time. Again, if it's not like a neutral palette that knocks my socks off, something more colorful like this is totally gonna come out of indie brand shadows. I like the quality of this, so I'm like tempted to hold on to it, but I think I'm gonna let it go. All right, back to the Catrice. I think I'm gonna hold on to it. I really do enjoy that as like a green color story, and I'm just into greens. So here's what I'm holding on to from this stack. I think it's the majority of the drawer, but I am getting rid of these 5. Still feels good. It empties out this drawer quite a bit between the two stacks that I'm getting rid of. All right, camera focus. All right, let's go to the next drawer. All right, I think this is like the rest of my more affordable palettes. I'm pretty sure. This is all of my Juvia's Place Colourpop and the remainder of my Moira Beauty shadows. I have no idea where this is gonna lead me, so let's go down this road. I do not reach for these that often. That's taupe. Like, I literally don't reach for this, but I understand that it's like a decent travel palette, and it's not that old. I purchased this much later than a lot of others because of its popularity. Wow. It's so underwhelming compared to a lot of the other swatches that I do. I think for like a more dialed down Colourpop collection, I could definitely see myself like keeping this for reference. Let's look at So Fly. I remember like why I got each of these palettes because I just really enjoyed the color story of all of them. I like this fun pop of color. You know, some of these just comparatively to a lot of the indie brands, just they don't take the cake quite as much, you know? So I think I'm gonna hold on to it though for the color story. I like So Fly. I think I can get rid of, what is this? By the Rosé. I mean, it's pretty, but it's pretty damn monochromatic. Ooh, that shade was so delish. So's that shade. I honestly, I might pull this one back out to test it again to see if I like it. I've been saying that about like, what, 10 palettes now? So I'm gonna have to like put some of those into rotation because I have not touched this in so long. Like I probably used it like 3 times when I first got it and then haven't touched it since then. A lot of these shades though are pretty similar, you know, but I mean, this is like a decent gradient. It's just not intense. Like on camera, you see so much more variation than you do in person. Like looking up close, it's like, those are pretty similar. I don't know, we'll hold on to this for now. Off Melrose, I have liked this for so long, but I think I'm ready to let it go. I have traveled with this. It had this fun like duochrome in here. I haven't reached for this in so long. Look at how creamy that still is. I have to keep it. I have to keep it. It's so weird the choices that I feel like I end up making because I get an emotion about certain palettes. It's so weird. There's like something attached to it. The way it made me feel when I bought it, a look I remember creating, whatever that significant memory is. All right, Bling Time. No, Menage a Moi. That's Bling Time. I'm like reading it. Okay, I really at one point loved pinky tones, but this is pretty monochromatic with 2 pressed glitters. So bye. She's going. Bling Time is a springtime vibe. Look at similar. Like this definitely looks darker right here, but boy, in person do these look the same. I'm gonna let this one go. I will not be reaching for that if it's like a peachy tone day. This one is way too monochromatic for my taste these days. That's gonna go. All Things Equinox, it was like a really nice cool tone palette. I don't know if this is like the light color story of my dreams anymore. Oh my gosh, when you start swatching and you get like a shade like this looks so underwhelming. Okay, I'm gonna hold on to that. This is another one I'd like to pull back out. All right, she's got Solstice. This is not a pressed glitter. This is a Super Shock. I'm pretty sure that's all like crumbly. I have really liked this, but again, some of these shades are pretty damn similar with this like pop of kind of green in the corner here. I don't want to keep sticking my finger in these shimmers because I keep regretting it. This one's an older palette. Yeah, this Super Shock is like, I don't know, is it Toast? I don't know. I think I'm gonna, those are both like great spring palettes. So I almost feel like I'd like to pull them back out right now and give them their last hurrah or see what looks I can create out of them before I'm like, get out of my house. If you guys could see the behind the scenes and how many wet wipes goes into this, it's crazy. All right, Going Coconuts, I bought for popularity because I wanted to test it. I actually don't think it's bad. And I think it's actually more warm toned than it like leads on. I feel like people have said this is cool toned, but I don't know. This is a half and half. This is a decent split. I'm gonna hold on to this one. Getting Fresh. I haven't touched in a while, but I love this color story for like neutral but spring, but also I got this at the very end of 2022, even though I think it came out in springtime of 2022, but I traveled with this guy. So it has a memory for me. If you guys know, you know, it's not going anywhere. It's a mood. I got this in a mystery box. Why does it look like I have never touched it? Did I never touch this palette and I just put it away? That's exactly what it looks like. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have to keep this out. I got this in a mystery box in November. I don't even think I touched it. How did it wind up back in the drawer without me using it? That genuinely never happens. Okay, so she stays and she gets used. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna make sure to keep this one out. All right, let's do Moira. These are their like box style palettes. They're from the Love Letter series is this one. This is the I'm Falling For You. They all look the same essentially. I think the shimmers here are really decent quality. Like they're very creamy and very opaque. Here I go swatching shimmers again. I don't love the color story here with the mattes. I don't know why. It's like either too neutral or that one's totally out of place, and I don't know. I don't know what it is about kind of looking at that palette that just makes me go, why Color Story, why? And then this is the Moira Land series, and it's the Magic Dreaming. This one's a little bit different, but you have some neutrals here. But again, like the creamy richness of these shimmers is actually really good. I find that I'm never in love with the Moira Color Stories laid out like this. It's like all over the place. You never get something cohesive, you know? You gotta kind of like it never kind of makes sense. Like you've got a neutral tone over here, but a neutral corner, and you've got like something that could be blue, but then you throw in a neutral shade, and then this purple's over. So it confuses my eyes, even though I think the quality of it is good. I'm gonna hold on to both of these for now. Well, let's take a look at my Juvia's Place palettes. Don't know where I'm going with this. I don't have a ton. I never have. It's not like I've decluttered them over the years. Actually, I'm just gonna take these like little ones here. The Blushed Rose. Sorry, I don't know if I could get rid of this. I've done some extremely beautiful looks with this palette, and I still think that these feel good. I'm gonna keep it. The Mauve's another one that I feel like I've done some pretty beautiful things with. This color right here is delicious. I don't know how creamy it still is. It's kind of getting on the dry side. It's really the only shimmer I like in this palette. I don't think I've ever even used this one. It's more like a satin anyway. I can tell this one is like getting older. You can kind of see that in this shade here. I'm not ready to part with it yet though. Like I'm telling you guys, there's something about when you're looking at a palette, you're like, I'm not ready. I am ready. I'm not ready. Am I ready for this? This is the Nubian 3 Coral. I wanted to try more Juvia's Place because I feel like these were my two first palettes and I really enjoyed them. This Color Story is really good. Nah, I'm gonna keep this one. Let's look at the Saharan. I always thought this was a really fun color story because it was just different. And like this shade right here I really liked, because it's weird. It's like this peachy shimmer, and it has like some, I don't know, something about it on the lid is really beautiful, and like this blue flippy shade. It's kind of weird, but it's like a white blue. I just don't love the mattes in here, you know? Like they're super bright, and I never find myself like pairing them together. Something about oranges I don't feel look really flattering on me. Like if that's the entire look, I just don't love it. Let me swatch like some of these and like get an emotion, shall we? Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't even think I've ever touched this shade. Yikes. All right, I'm gonna hold on to it. The Nubian, I feel like is the full-on neutral one, if I'm not mistaken, which I think I can let go of. Yeah, I haven't even used this that much. Look how creamy. See, some of these Juvia's ones, I feel like they need a maybe situation, you know? They need to go into the let me try you again pile. I don't want to declutter just for the sake of decluttering. That's wasteful. My hard-earned money went into it. But I do need to decide whether or not I love it. This is the Candy Shop. A lot of these were kind of on the drier side. The mattes were not the best quality that I think Juvia has done. And then some of these shimmers were dry. I loved this shade right here. Like it was really pretty kind of sparkly shade. I don't think it's a duochrome, but this was not my favorite quality from them. I'm gonna let that one go. However, the Culture 2, I feel like is pretty badass. Like they have some multi-chromes in here that like, hello Juvia's. They did a really good job, I think, with this formulation. I had trouble with this dashiki shade here, like deepening in the outer corner. It was kind of like getting patchy for me. But some of these, oh shoot, I just swatch over these. But like some of these shimmers are delightful. Look at the blue to green shift. I want to say there's like another one. I think it's the Batik shade that's a another multi-chrome or a duochrome. Like, does this one have a flip? Yeah, like blue to green. It's not terribly dissimilar to this one. I really do enjoy the shimmer formula in this, and because there's just, oof, there's so many different color shimmers, I really enjoyed this palette. I think it was totally different than the Candy Shop. The Candy Shop felt so dry. This one feels yummy. Yummy, yummy. So I'm gonna keep this. So out of this whole stack, I got rid of 4. Not a huge amount, so that's fine. That's fine. All right, shall we go through more of the eyeshadows that I've hauled that I have not even tried yet? So these are more indie brand shadows that have not even gone into my eyes. So none of these are going to go, but we will go through each of them. So this is the Sassy Fairy and Salem Cosmetics In My Dreams palette. It was a collab. Pretty color story, but you know, it seems like I kind of decluttered some from BH Cosmetics that were similar to this, but the formula on the shimmers is just kind of better here. Haven't tested the matte, so I don't know, but I liked the swatch so much I ended up picking up another one from Salem Cosmetics, which I showed you guys already. I have one from Nomad, the Okavango Safari palette. I'm just getting into indie brands at this point, so you guys might have tested a lot of their formulas in the past, but not I. So the more that I get into these and decide whether or not like I love the formula, obviously is gonna make me a convert, and like I'm probably gonna end up picking up more palettes and then decluttering some of the other ones that I don't enjoy the quality quite as much. Should I get rid of the boxes? I told you guys I do not like to do that until I have totally put the eyeshadow on my eyes. All right, this is from It's Bella Cosmetics. It's the Pixie Grove palette. This was amazing when I swatched it. Like, it doesn't look as good as when it swatched out. It was so beautiful. These tones were super rich and pigmented. So excited for that one. And then this was a re-release and a final restock with a Dragon Fruit palette with Emily, Violet Marie, and Cleona Cosmetics. They changed the packaging on this, so it's now in a cardboard box instead of the plastic. Swatch this. This seems like a ton of different great formulas and some satin shades in there too, so you really could use this. I did that really fast, but so that you really could use this palette as an all-in-one. Like this is a satin, like that one's a satin, so if you wanted to, you might not even have to go outside of this palette to create a whole look. All right, I have tested the Gourmand Girls formula. You guys saw 2 of their palettes already, but these are the last 2 that I have. Silent Night, which is in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny. Some of these tones are very similar. Hopefully it's not totally washing it out, but these 2 blues are very similar. And then these 2 blue shimmers swatch very similar. You can tell this is deeper, but it doesn't swatch very much deeper. So it does go light to dark though, so that's cool. I'm definitely interested to see what I can make out of the palette, or like what eye looks I can create. Same thing, Gourmand Girls in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny. This is the Haunted palette. I want to say these are probably like holiday releases. This one just looks like a fun Halloweenish palette, fall time palette. I could see myself creating some fun stuff with that. I have the Cimmerian Sunset from Adept Cosmetics. Like, look at the impression I made in this one. Like it crumbled on me. It's like wet and sticky and weird, and I do not think that it's like right. Like it should have dried a little bit more, but the shimmers are freaking amazing. My finger also like went through this shade right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Like it absolutely went straight through that shade and like made the biggest like dent. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I think the formula is gonna be great, but I don't know if those were like done curing, drying, whatever. It just seems like some of those were a little extra wet. They have a decent variety of mattes in this one, so I'm definitely interested to see what the matte quality is. I'm never like over the moon about Adept Cosmetics matte formula. Like sometimes they're patchy, then sometimes they're good. So, and then one of my favorite brands, Bella Beauté Bar, the Dead Roses palette. Every time I open a Bella Beauté Bar palette, I tell you guys, they're richly pigmented in the mattes. They are immensely different in the shimmers. They're freaking special. So last year when I tried Bella Beauté Bar's, I can't even remember what palette it was, we'll get to it, formula in that eyeshadow palette, I was like, never again will I miss a Bella Beauté Bar release. I have, but I literally love every single palette that I get, even if it's not like a color story that I feel like speaks to me once it gets here. I'm always more impressed by like the quality than I think I'm going to be. Yeah, anyway, I have a discount code with Bella Beauté Bar. It's just Carrie Megan. I will list it in the description box. I keep all my like affiliate links down there on all of my videos, but In case you guys are interested in checking out, she even has like a new release. This palette looks absolutely stunning. I have one from Ensley Rain. It's the Cold Moon palette. I honestly don't think I will be buying anything else from Ensley Rain. I haven't tried this yet, so I don't know if I'm gonna like fall in love with the formula, but I did apply to be like part of the affiliate program with Ensley Rain, and instead of replying to me, they like blocked my email address. Like it said, your account has been blocked. Like the formula of this looks absolutely stunning. But as far as like indie brands go, you guys, this is $88.88 is what this palette costs. And I understand that there are some special shades in here, but sometimes I feel like, well, yeah, but Bella Beauté Bar does that too, you know? And I get that this is, I think, 21 colors, right? It's a 21 color palette, I'm pretty sure. But it just seems like we're getting to the point where it's acceptable to charge $100 for a palette. You know, where you're not paying an artist for the artwork because this is computer generated, I'm pretty sure. It just, I don't know, it seems like a lot. Granted, the West Coast costs more, like this is made in Oregon and I think ships out of Washington, but I still think like making a palette $88, $90, goodness, like where does it end? Plus the way I feel like they treated me was not good. I don't care for that. And you guys, if you've watched my indie brand haul video, you know that that was upsetting and they've never responded at all. All right, Gloss Gods. I do have a link, but it's not like, it's affiliated, but it doesn't give any discount. I'm trying to see if they will contact me back to give me a discount. So far, they've just responded with kind of giving me a shop. So I've put some of like my favorites in my shop. So if you guys are interested in checking them out, I mean, they are a Swedish brand, so it is international shipping. But they do ship pretty fast, and they just had a new palette release. It's like all neutrals. It looks absolutely stunning, and their formula feels freaking amazing. Like you've got some different textures in here. You've got some chunky foiled. You have some soft multi-chromes. Oh, the swatching. Getting that swatch off. Was it worth it, Carrie? But like as far as a beautiful warm-toned delight, they've got that in this first Gal on Venus. Like spring and summer, take me away. The formula in this feels really, really good. And then I got their all shimmer Look for Rainbows. Look at this. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Can you see the shift on these two multi-chromes? I don't think you can because they're so far away. But anyway, yeah, I'm so excited for this. Oh, I did buy another Nomad. That's right. I haven't tried either of these, but I didn't place the order at the same time. I ended up getting this one first and I swatched it. This is I think what their newest release, right? New Zealand Stargazing is their newest one. I ended up swatching this when it got here and I liked it so much I went back for the Safari, Okavango Safari. I haven't even tried either of these. It takes so much freaking time. Anyway, delighted to try it. All right, I know this video is gonna be on the longer side, you guys. Like I could see this being like a 2-hour or more video because here's another stack. I have 4 more drawers after this, plus a basket full of palettes. So I really do need to cut these down. Like, here's where I need to be serious with myself in terms of like what I'm really reaching for. Let's go over Nabla next. I think that, I don't know, I probably will get rid of like a decent amount of these ones in the cutie ones, which I was like trying to collect at one point. This is like a beautiful neutral palette, and the quality of this was really good in the dreamy palette, so I'm gonna hold on to it. Let's look at the side-by-side nude palette from Nabla. It's pretty neutrals, but a lot of these tones are like warmer tones. Let's swatch anyway. Oops, I swatched it. I swatched the best one. Look at this deliciousness right here. It's not even looking as good on camera. You know, this is the downfall of swatching, is that you're like, why haven't I reached for this? It looks so good. All right, I'm still gonna hold on to it. Like these are such good, like standard neutrals, like neutrals and then neutral pinky tones. And the quality still seems to be really good in both of those. Let's take a look at the cutie palettes because I was not blown away by the formula in these. I found the deeper mattes to be extremely patchy. This one is the Berry palette, which I like this one, but it's like basically a topper, and I have these shades elsewhere, so I'm gonna pass that along. The Analog palette, I loved this Overexposed shade, but that was like super patchy. This is kind of a satiny shade, and then so is this one. I have this like orange tone somewhere else, I'm sure of it, so I'm gonna let it go too. And then the Coral Cutie palette, this one I actually do really like for like travel, you know, you could kind of get more neutral. Like even this red shade here is more like a satin shade, and I love this Mandarin one, so I think I'm gonna hold on to that one. And then I'm going to get rid of the Platinum one. I found both of these mattes to be extremely patchy on me, and I didn't enjoy them. Even though I love this Luxuriance like silver shade, I have this. I also have this in like the Catrice palette too. Like definitely I have a bright silver like this elsewhere. So I just didn't enjoy the quality of the mattes on that particular one. Let's do my Wander Beauty. I want to say I just have these two. This, I think Wander Beauty has like a similar formula to Sigma. They're so beautiful and like creamy shimmers, and no one talks about Wander Beauty, and I showed you guys like the Double Date Duo. Plus this is like a really fun shade, which I think the Menagerie Cosmetics palette has in it. The Killer Purr palette has one that's very similar. Great neutral, like I'm gonna hold on to it. Sweet Escape, I also find like very light and good, and this On Holiday shade is like stunning. So is this one in Carry On. Like you could tell I really reached for these two shades. Probably this one too in Sweet Dreams. But I just like it for a light look. I think Wander Beauty actually has a really decent formula. Okay, I have one palette here from Dose of Colors, the I Love Sarah He collab. I've never been able to let this go because I love all of these. I don't know if this is like still, yeah, these are still like super creamy. I wish that I would stop swatching things, but they look so beautiful. They're really good quality. I've never tried another palette from Dose of Colors, but I'm still gonna hold on to it for now. I can't let it go. It's that feeling again. Here's the full-size Oma Beauty Black Magic palette. This one is the Royal Heritage palette. This was one of my favorite palettes, I think, last year, because these are like, again, they're really good shimmers, and the mattes are perfect. Like they're blendable into perfection. I think Oma Beauty has an overlooked eyeshadow formula. Well, I'm holding on to that one for sure. All right, I had the Robin Eisenberg collab. She did the artwork for this for Urban Decay Naked, and I didn't think it was bad. It's just that overall, I think the Urban Decay shadows are so dry. Like, were they ever creamy? I don't know. Do I love pans like this? No. Am I gonna let it go? Yes, I am. Bye. Then I have one palette from KKW Beauty. Is this the only one that I have? It's the Classic Bloom. So yes, it is. This is also like a great neutral palette. So I know she's just now starting to come back out with makeup, and if I end up doing a review and I compare it, sure. I have one from Violet Voss. I really liked this for like a summer palette. You guys, I have this. I'm gonna let it go. All right, here are all of my Too Faced palettes. I do not have that many. I have the Mariale palette, Amor Caliente. I just liked this color story, and I think it was a collab with Mariale. I don't hate it. I don't think it's like the dry ass same formula that I find in a lot of like Too Faced. So I'm gonna hold on to it for now. Born This Way Sunset Stripped, another great neutral palette. Honestly, hardly touched. Like I've touched these. Okay, I've touched 3 of the shimmers, but I haven't touched, maybe I did this one, so maybe 4. But like you can tell some of these are just fully untouched. So I think I'm gonna hold on to this one too. The Italian Spritz wasn't bad. Like it was decent. I don't think I need this, you guys. The Lake Como was dry. The Spritz and Glitz was a little bit dry. Like those are both topper shades. They're not like your full shimmer formula. And while the shimmers didn't suck, they're basic, you know? They're not like, pull out Ensley Rain, okay? Pull out Bella Beauté bar and compare it against the Too Faced formula. They don't even stack up. So color story is all over the place for me too. And some of these tones look pretty, I'm just gonna let it go. Like bye, see you later. All right, this last stack here, this is the only one that I've ever purchased, and I kind of feel like their color stories are so damn similar. This is probably all I ever need. And even though the formula is just mid, like this one here is a dry topper, and it's not a whole lot. Some of them are nice and creamy. They're nothing to write home about. I genuinely will not reach for this. Like, this is not a palette, if I'm looking for this color story, am I going to care to reach for over some others that I have. I know that it's not. And I think that purple lilac-y shade is totally out of place. Like, I'm gonna pass it along. Patrick Ta, Major Dimension. I think this is the rosy tone. Yes, I never picked up the first one. This is the second release, and it was the, I guess, Major Dimension 2, sorry. It's not a bad formula. I like that there's some chunky ones. I like the gradient. However, I will say that these 3 shades, like once I blend them out, they look so similar on my eyes. Or if I get these 2 together, they look pretty similar. If I put those 2 together, they look pretty similar. Like, I get the gradient. It just never seemed like it was that much of a gradient unless I skipped, you know? So, but I think he did a decent job with the formula. Like, some of these are softer, some of these are more foiled. And I think he's completely relevant, so I'm gonna hold on to it. I have 2 palettes from Tarte. This one has a special place in my heart. Again, something I ended up taking traveling with me. And so if you know, you know. Anyway, I think this was a better formula from Tarte. Like, it's not dry. These are actually like really creamy shades. I wouldn't say the mattes are like overly pigmented. They're not super saturated, but it's decent. And because it has that sentimental value, if I get like a memory box at some point, I would probably move this and like the Colourpop one in there. For now, it stays. And then this one from the Sugar Crush line, the Sweet Tart Cravings, you guys, is so freaking yummy and delicious. And when this came out, like, no one was talking about these shimmers, but why? And even the mattes are like buttery, rich, and smooth. Such a good palette. No joke. No kidding. I don't know why this one is so different. Like, why did they create the Sugar Rush line different than their other palettes? Not to be overlooked. If you guys didn't like maybe more textured shimmers, I could see why you wouldn't like this. Or if the color story was just a little bit too rich for you, like, I could totally understand you're not loving this. But the quality of this, I'm sorry, it's totally undeniable that this is a decently formulated palette. So I'm gonna hold on to this. So I ended up getting rid of, like, I feel like a decent stack. I don't think I thought I was gonna get rid of this many. I got rid of 7 from this stack and held on to 13. That's not half bad from this drawer to have gotten rid of, I think, 7. All right, let's round this evening out with the last of this drawer, which is just my ABH palettes. I was able to stand up so many more just getting rid of, how many did I get rid of? 7 in that drawer. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna get rid of either, but I can tell you, I don't reach for these all that often. Let's start with the newer ones. Cosmos, probably not going to go anywhere because it's newer, and I think it was decent quality. A lot of lighter tones and more desaturated, and the ABH formula overall I feel like is just kind of more on the powdery side, but the shimmers were nice. This one's almost like, it's like a softer kind of wetter shimmer. I still like it though, and because I feel like ABH is still relevant, you know, out there in the eyeshadow world, that I would still like to keep it. I also liked this one, the Nouveau. You can see how powdery they are and how much I've dug into them, but I think the blendability with ABH is there, the longevity is there, and the shimmers are usually very everyday, so I enjoy the formula. But so let's look at, actually, let's go over the Rose Metals one, which is newer, which I'm also going to keep. I like it. Grungy. I like it. Warm tones, pretty much. Now let's go over some of the older ones. Sultry, I want to say I can probably part with some of these. Sultry, I probably don't want to get rid of because it's a more popular, like, neutral palette. Something I could definitely talk about later. But Riviera, guys, I've barely even touched this. I must have picked this up at TJ Maxx, and you've got like basic shades, basic. And then yeah, I don't know. There's something about this palette that's just too much all over the place for me that I never think like, yes, this shade would look good with that shade. It's just not very deep. And then if I wanted to do a neutral look, then I would grab for just that shimmer. Like this one's too all over the place. I don't find myself wanting to pair any one of these blues with anything because that's just the way that my mind sees shadows. So I'm gonna let it go. Oh, here's another newer one, the Fall Romance, which I think probably might be my favorite of the 4 newer ones. Something about like the grungier tones that are just deeper in this one that I really enjoy, so I'm gonna keep it. Now these two are going nowhere, okay? Soft Glam 2 is one of my favorites. I broke this shade a long time ago, but Dreamer does not exist in this palette. Dreamer comes from, help me here guys, what does the Dreamer shade come from? It comes from one of their other palettes, but it's my favorite freaking shimmer. You guys can see, like I've dug into it. Just something about it is so everyday. I love these tones too. Like every one of these shades do I like, and you can tell I've used them all. This is my favorite ABH palette over the Soft Glam. Bam! So you see how they have fairy and glistening? I prefer it more than this one. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna hold on to both of them. So there you go. Norvina, I don't need this one either. I don't think I've even, oh, Dreamer, it comes from Norvina. There you go, thank you. It comes from the Norvina palette originally. So I'm just shocked that they shoved this one here and not like taken the two that are very similarly toned from Soft Glam. This one is just more cohesive, right? Like this one makes a little bit more sense to me. Like overall, you can definitely see like purple with purple and the rose gold with passion and drama, but I almost never reach for these. And I have Dreamer and Soft Glam too. Peace out, Norvina, peace out. And I think Subculture is gonna go too. I've barely even touched this. I like the electric shade, but there's only 2 shimmers in this whole palette, which is great because I feel like both of these shimmers would look, well, is Cube a shimmer? Kind of, is it? Yeah, it's a duochrome, but it's like boring, you know? I have so many better shades in my indie palettes. This one's all over the place for me, and I'm not gonna reach for it. The final one is Omrizi. Oh, Omrizi, Barb, okay? Barb. I love Barb. This has gotta be my favorite ABH shimmer ever. Look at Barb. She hot. Barb is so hot. And then Anastasia is also like a really delicious shade. I never understood like the pressed glitters in here. I don't even want to swatch this. Like I've never seen pressed glitters in any of the other ABH palettes. Am I crazy? But Omrizi had it. I love this palette so much more than the other ones. So I'm gonna hold on to Omrizi. I can see myself decluttering some from here, but I don't know about the next drawer because I have like the start of my indie shadows in that drawer. Let's go over Sigma first. I'm not getting rid of any of my Sigma. The Alice in Wonderland palette, I just really enjoy their shimmer formula. I think their mattes are never like patchy. They never let me down. I have so much shadow on my nails right now. And even though this is not like a color story I reach for all the time, I just enjoy their formula. The Corderosa, again, if I want something like this, I never find any issue with it. You know, color story makes sense to me. Shimmer formula, delicious, delicious. Again, it reminds me a lot of like the Milani formula is what I was saying. Also like the Lorac maybe is like a little bit similar. So anyway, if it's like a color story thing, I definitely just find myself going, oh, it's cohesive. Oh, the mattes perform really well. Oh, the shimmers are really nice. Okay, new mod, also not going anywhere. It's a delicious little pinky toned color story. And then I have one of their 9 pans, the Rosy. So again, if I'm looking for something like this, it's a nice color story, so it stays. I have 2 from Bobbi Brown. These are actually really good. Both of these were limited edition holiday releases, so they're not made anymore. But you guys, like, they do satins and fun sparkly shimmer shades like really well. And this is like a full-on highlighter, but you could use this as like a duochrome eyeshadow. And it's such a good formula. It's so much better than, I want to say, like a lot of luxury brands that they're just, I don't know, light and not intense or whatever. These ones from Bobbi Brown are kind of killer. They're not the best, like they're not indie brands, but they're really good for luxury quality. That Queen of Luck palette from Charlotte like could have been, you know, but wasn't. Like, stunning. Like the Bobbi Brown team really does some fun stuff, although I've heard they do a lot of repeat shades. I can't attest to that. I'd only have these 2 palettes, but I'm gonna hold on to both of them. And then I have one here from KVD. I really enjoyed this formula. This is a really old palette though. It's so, what is this one called? Edge of Reality. These shimmers are, I might not even be able to let this go because of these shimmers. They're actually really delicious. And the mattes don't even look like you've touched them because they're like this cream formula. I would like to pull this back out. I'm not letting it go yet. I'm not ready. And why do some of these hold on so much better than others? Like, are they just dousing these in preservatives? Like, that's an older palette and it's still going strong. All right, I have 2 from Laura Lee why was I gonna say cosmetics? Laura Lee Los Angeles. This is the Nudie Patootie original palette. I like it for a neutral palette. I wanna say some of these like have lost their oils though. Like, how creamy is that? No, it's still good. I really do like the shimmer formula, but I prefer it more in the Nudie Patootie 2 palette. Do I need this one? The quality in swatching it feels good and the mattes look like neutral and nice. So it comes down to like, how many neutrals do you need? I don't know, 2. Here's the Nudie 2, which is such a creamier formula. I haven't even used these 2 shades, which is cray cray. Because they look sickening. Yep, they sure do. And they're a totally different formula. But do I want to break up Nudie Patootie 1 and 2? Because I wanted the Nudie Patootie 1 for so long, but it was not in stock and then she restocked it. But I had Nudie Patootie 2, I want to say, or it was like the other way around. I don't know. I'm going to pass this one along and I'm going to hold on to Nudie 2 because I can see some of the oils leaking out, but a lot of them still felt really creamy. And I like this color story just a little bit better too. This is like a lot of kind of desaturated, like beigey tones. All right, I have 1 palette from Dominique Cosmetics, Latte 2. Not my favorite color story. These shimmers are not my favorite. I just don't try a lot from Dominique Cosmetics. So I don't know whether to keep it for the sake of like just keeping 1 palette from the brand. I think I will. Sydney Grace, I only have 1. This is the Be Mine in the deep version. I just liked the deeper tones. I don't think they were that different, but I liked that some of the tones got darker, and I love that Sydney Grace does a light version, a dark version, or a deep version every time she comes out with a palette. So I'm not getting rid of this. I want to buy more, except that Sydney Grace is pretty expensive. The Cara Duo palette. This is the Gentle Teaser. Yes, Pro 11 Gentle Teaser. I like the Cara Beauty formula, and a lot of these shimmers actually perform a lot better. I maybe don't love these tiny ass pans. Sometimes getting my fat finger into these shimmers isn't my favorite. And I have another one, hold on. The 70s palette, which is on my everyday makeup drawer. I'm using this one for the month of, well, I was using it for April too, but also the month of May. And it's just really fun. And it's also got some neutral shades in here, but some different like shimmers. You could do more with this palette than you can with this, which is like kind of a pinky orange and neutrals, which I have. So I'm gonna pass this one along. I'm still keeping this one because it's in my everyday makeup drawer. I'm still working on it. And then I have 1 palette from Lunar Beauty, the Nude Prism palette. I do enjoy this. I want to say this is the exact same formula that's in the Nudie 2 in the shimmers. And it's also an excellent neutral palette. I do hear a lot of people saying like, oh, he still openly supports James Charles, which I do not. So for the time being, I'm not really purchasing or interested in purchasing anything else that he's releasing at the current moment. But I'm going to hold on to this palette. The Rare Beauty ones, the Give Yourself Grace palette. It isn't bad. I actually don't hate this. It's just, I literally won't reach for this if I'm looking for a color story over some other ones. So I was basically keeping this for reference. You know, if I ever talked about like a new eyeshadow release And I've actually had this shimmer formula for a while from her. And like, it's not bad, but it's getting drier. I feel like I'm gonna pass both of those along though. I never reach for them. All right, these are my two other Ace Beauté palettes. This is the Violet Sage. I wanna say this was a BoxyCharm exclusive or subscription exclusive. And this actually made me kind of like fall in love with the eyeshadow formula that Ace Beauté can come out with. So I'm gonna hold on to the Violet Sage. The other one that I like that I bought that was a fairly new release in the fall, so this last fall, was the Mystic Romance palette. You guys, this is stunning. Like, there's nothing bad about this. Every one of these blends to perfection. A lot of these shimmers are delicious. So I want the other two palettes that I picked up to be like this. Mystic Romance one, that would be fabulous. This is so beautiful, like fall deep tones. These are my only two melt palettes. You guys, I see like so many people have like a huge melt collection, but I didn't even know for the longest time, and don't laugh at me, that Melt was an indie brand. Like, I came late to the eyeshadow game. I'm learning late, all this stuff. So because they were sold in Sephora, I really didn't know that they were an indie brand. And I tested these palettes from the Bad Side Zodiac collection, and everybody hates these, but I have nothing to compare them against. And as far as like quality goes, they were not bad. So I was like, why is everyone hating on these? I don't get it. I did like a dedicated video, and I don't think that they had like a ton of hype, but I've created some badass looks with both of these palettes. This one's the Air, by the way, because they came out with 4, but I ended up getting 2 that I thought would be more up my alley. Nothing wrong with the quality. Why does everybody hate these? So I'm keeping it. And Earth was my freaking favorite. I created some great grungy looks with this, and I never had any issue with the mattes or the shimmers. So both of those are gonna stay. The Lorac Pro Palette, Fairy Tale Forest, great neutral. Like, there's nothing wrong with this palette. I can even tell like some of these just haven't gotten love from me. And are these kind of drying? These look like they're getting on the dry side. Then you swatch them and it's like, no, you just needed to warm me up, okay? I could honestly see myself getting rid of this the next go round if I don't get use out of it, because it's a nice size for travel, don't get me wrong. And you got a bunch of different shimmers, but a lot of these shimmers end up looking pretty similar on the eyes, and I don't even reach for it that much anymore. Although this was a palette I reached for all the time. I dug into the lighter shades quite a bit more, but I had this sitting on my vanity for a while. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna keep it. Soleil, I really liked how they broke it up, but I'm not gonna lie, some of these matte tones look super similar on the eyes. I'm telling you, the shimmers, they don't do a huge jump in a lot of them, and so a lot of times they end up looking pretty similar on the eyes. So again, probably one, if I don't end up using these, I will end up passing along. So from here, I only ended up getting rid of 4. It's fine, you guys. I'm not decluttering for the sake of decluttering. I've got a decent sized pile over there, which I'll show you at the end, but I am done for this evening. I will see you guys back here later, because it's late and I've been filming for too long. Okay, bye now, bye. All right, welcome back. It is a brand new day. And this is the majority of like the indie brand shadows that I have in my collection that aren't new and like untested. 90% of these are gonna stay, maybe 95%. Because some of them did go into my chopping block in December to test out some of the ones that I was questioning. For the most part, I like a lot of these, so I don't wanna get rid of them just for the sake of getting rid of them. And quite honestly, some of them are like on the newer side. All right, let's start off with, I think Kaleidos. We'll just pick them because they're kind of on top. So I have the 2 little quads. I have, what is this called? This is the, I can't even remember what this one is called. This one was like the black one. I think that these are good, but I never reach for them, like not for a travel or anything like that. This is a more unique color story in my collection as far as like a little quad goes. This one's fully neutral. I think I held on to them because they were kind of like a set, but these were from 2022, I wanna say. I do think that I can part with the one that's just not as special. This is just, I don't know. This one right here, I think I can let go of. Do I need this at all? I don't think I need it. Honestly, I can let this go. I want to keep the ones that I'm really using. Now these guys here, the Futurism palettes, this is Futurism 3 Astro Pink. I put this one of these I thought I put into a chopping block, but I may not have. They still feel really creamy, and I don't know, I really liked this quality from Kaleidos, so I do not mind using these at all. So I'm gonna hold on to, I think the 3 that I have. This one is the Electro Turquoise, which was Futurism 5. Oh, I took the shade name thing off. I just think it's funky, but I think that they perform pretty well. Like as far as Kaleidos quality goes. Again, a lot of people are questioning like, what is Kaleidos gonna do? They did a lot of cool stuff, and they seem to kind of do things like this that are more on the neutral side that, I don't know, don't seem quite as innovative. For now though, I'm gonna hold on to these because I'm getting rid of the other ones. This one happens to be probably my favorite, I guess, because it is kind of just neutral. I want to say these shimmers do feel like they're kind of drying out though, so I could see myself, if I don't end up using them at all this year, like getting rid of them by the end of 2024. But for now, we shall hold on to these ones. All right, the Corn collaboration with Hip Dot. I showed you guys the Evanescence one earlier and said like hypothetically I would declutter it, but I would 100% get rid of this one because the quality in this one is just as bad. Like these are kind of really dry mattes. That pressed glitter, these shades do not, is this 2 pressed glitters? Yes. And I think this shade with this shade, like you can't really pair those 2 together because they kind of look like a wash of color, and that's not like a strong flippy, this palette's just not good quality. I'm not a fan of the Hip Dot formula in either of these collaborations that I tried, so we will get rid of those. All right, let's move on to the rest of Kaleidos. I think this is it. Like, I think this is the last Kaleidos palette that I have. The Escape Pod palette, which I wanted for so long. It's just, the color story, I'm sure, baffles me because it's kind of on the brighter side. And I feel like some of these shimmers, some of them, like this one, for example, kind of on the drier side, where like that one's nice and creamy. It's lighter in tone, but it's also drier. I don't get as much enjoyment out of this color story, I think, as I thought I would. I wanted this for so long. I think I'll play with this a little bit more before I completely declutter it. What did I just do? Okay, now it closed. So I'll kind of keep these with the other Kaleidos palettes that I'm holding on to. Like nothing from Kaleidos that I have in my collection is knocking my socks off, 100%. All right, let's get into the 2 palettes that I have from Lethal. This is the Destiny one, and I put these both into a chopping block to see whether or not they were, like, these are kind of powdery shimmers. They're not like super tacky. They're just more on the light side. So I was like, do I need these? But the reason that I held on to them is because I want to say they have a collab coming up that's going to be released, and I'd like to compare the formula, and or I'd like to try other palettes from them to see how the formula compares to these ones. That was Destiny and this is Memento. I like this color story more, and I enjoy some of these shimmers like a little bit more than these ones. I don't know, in just tone. So for now, I'm gonna hold on to these ones. Again, these might get decluttered if I end up replacing them or just not touching them, I guess, in 2024. So right here, I have 2 Unearthly Cosmetics palettes. This was the Devour palette from like Halloween of this year, I guess, or sorry, not this year, 2023. I so enjoyed this formula. I so enjoyed these mattes and these shimmers. They're buttery and creamy and really pigmented, and I really enjoyed these for like inner corner highlights. I don't know, there was just something really nice about the formula here that I feel like was maybe different than both of the other palettes that I've tried from Unearthly. I feel like some of my stuff is starting to feel a little bit drier. It is not especially dry up here, but it is especially hot this time of year, so maybe that has something to do with it. But anyway, I really enjoyed the color story on this, so I'm gonna hold on to it. This is the first Unearthly Cosmetics palette that I picked up, and don't think it's my favorite, like in terms of color story, but the performance was really good. Like everything was really super duper creamy. It's just like these tones, like these super bright pink tones, I don't love on me. And so I was like kind of reaching for this, which is like a little bit more of a burnt brown shade. Oh, do you see how that stained me? That's not coming off. Oh no, you guys. Oh, that's on there. That is good to go. Anyway, I'm gonna hold on to this one. I don't have a huge Unearthly Cosmetics collection at this point, so I don't feel bad about keeping 3 palettes from them. All right, let's go over the 2 Glam Light palettes that I have. Actually, I think I have 3. I have the collaboration with Michaela. This is the first one, and I've tried to drop all my sparkles out because this packaging came undone. I like this though. Like I'm getting more into colorful tones, especially like greens, I guess, and then pairing some deeper shimmers with like deeper matte shades. I think it's a really good formula. It's like Glam Light doesn't disappoint me. Then I have this Cutie Patootie, which is the strawberry shortcake. You cannot get, I don't think, any one of these. Actually, I think you can still get the Chucky palette, but you can't get the strawberry shortcake one. It's completely sold out, limited edition. And you guys, it's such a dang shame that they come and go because this is so cute. And it's like, it really is really good quality. So I'm gonna hold on to this. Plus I got this pretty late when it was like almost no longer available. So it's kind of newer to me. It's not that old of a palette. And then the Chunky collab. It sounded like I said chunky. The Chucky collab. I love this. It looks similarly toned like on camera, but honestly, it's such a dirty little grungy thing that if I'm looking for like a super deep shade, like these have my best deep burgundies in this palette. One of my best deep blacks. I have another one that I hauled. The Colored Rain one is super deep black, but like this is my best deep tones in this palette, in the burgundies and blacks here. So I'm not going to get rid of this for that reason. I have one palette from the Pastel Roses. This was not good quality. I liked the shimmers, but aside from that, the mattes were so light that the pigment almost didn't even show up on me. The shimmers are really pretty. Like they're light and they're duochromes. 2 of them, actually maybe 3 of them broke before they got here. Like you can see, it looks like I've repressed these out of the 4 shimmer shades, but the mattes were just, I don't know, you guys, they didn't blend well. They were very powdery. They were just very thin and lightly pigmented. I don't know if the Pastel Roses is going to put out anything else, because I would love to see if they did so I could compare against it. That would be my only reason to kind of keep this. Like, do all of the palettes kind of have the same formula? Are they a little bit different? So for that reason, I'm gonna hold on to it for now. I think I have one other Beauty Bay palette, the Dark Fantasy. I already showed you guys their Valentine's Day, the Something Obsessions one. This one is lovely, lovely green, deep tones. I mean, it's all over the place. You can do some fun things, nice silver in here. I like the Beauty Bay formula. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I have one from Danessa Myricks, the Lightwork 5. I haven't gotten a ton of use out of this, but I like to have it in my collection, if that makes sense. I don't know if I would like purchase another having tested this, but it was pretty decent. I need to put this in like a rotation that would get more use out of this expensive thing. All right, let's do Odin's Eye next. So far I've only decluttered 3. Now this one went into my chopping block, the Saga of Freya palette, but I decided to hold on to it because it still felt creamy. But I'm looking at it kind of going, not my favorite color story. It's not bad, like at all, but if I'm looking for tones like these, this palette doesn't jump to my mind. Whoa, look at the difference in that creamy silver shade. Have I ever even used that silver shade? I think I've swatched it, I've never used it. I literally just put this one in a chopping block and decided to hold on to it. Because I'm just on the fence, I think I'm gonna hold on to it because I don't want to torture myself. The Jewels and Gem palette wasn't my favorite. Something about some of these shimmers just felt a little bit drier to me, but it's a newer palette. I would like to give it a little bit more love. Like, oof, these tones look super beautiful. But yeah, some of the shimmers just felt a little bit drier. And maybe it wasn't dry. Yeah, no, look. Like, I'm a decent swatcher. This is like dry as can be. That was hard. And This one still feels good, but some of these definitely felt on the dry side. Like they're not pulling up a whole lot. I mean, they don't have strong bases anyway, but they feel like they need to be mushed up. I'm not kidding. They feel so hard pressed in there that you just like, you can't get anything up. So maybe that, like digging it with my nail and kind of loosening it will help it a little. Let's try again. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. Look how gorgeous it is. I feel like these need to be, why? I mean, I don't know. Is that normal? Do you guys ever have to do that with your shimmers? Like kind of break up the top layer? Here, let's swatch this one. So much better than the other one. So maybe that's kind of what it was, that some of those just felt like super hard pressed and they needed to be a little bit loosened. So there's nothing wrong with the color story here. I don't think there's anything wrong with the quality either. And I would like to get more use out of this, especially now that I'm like digging into those shades and breaking that up a little bit. I'm just yapping away, trying to kill time while I'm wiping my hands. Anyway, I'm gonna hold on to this one. My absolute favorite palette from Odin's Eye is the Merry Christmas palette. I got this when it first launched. I have no idea what they did to this formula, but these mattes are super rich and they blend like unbelievably well. So that's why this ended up being my favorite. Not only that, but the color story was awesome. And then I have the Hella palette. Probably not my favorite color story. I guess I wanted to like support Angelica, but it's not bad. Again, maybe some of these shimmers kind of feel a little bit hard pressed. Like I could just dig them up again like I did the last one. Anyway, I'm going to hold on to it as well. I don't have a huge Odin's Eye collection. Like I don't buy every single release of theirs. So I try to be a little bit more selective of the palettes that I get from them. I bought this whole collection though because I wanted to support all three of these creators. I do not reach for them that much though. These are a little bit dusty. Some of these lighter tones. In application, I'm never like, oh my gosh, my favorite look. I don't know. I guess I'm not blown away about the richness of those tones. This one is pretty unique. Like some of these tones and this palette and this color story all together. The Sea Talk palette, sorry, that was the Flora Story palette with Makeup Just for Fun. Sea Talk with Laura, and then the Planet Spirit palette with Betty Jean. You know what? This is another one I would like to just like break up. Some of these like topper ones, they get so hard pressed, especially like putting your finger in it over and over. There we go. It's really intense, but man, they can be pushed down to the point where you can't really pick up a whole ton. Now, I will admit, I got this one to support Betty Jean, but like this color story, I guarantee you I touched these shimmers and I have not touched these mattes because this is not like a cohesive color story for me. But I'm gonna hold on to those ones. All right, I have two from Adept, and you guys saw my other Sumerian Sunset one. This was the Ninhydrin palette. I hate these mattes. I feel like they're so mustardy. They don't really go with this color story. This one I like for some of these shimmers. A lot of these are like fairly chunky. I think the ones on top are like the smoother formula, but everything still feels delicious and creamy, so Ninhydrin's one of my favorites. Those I would have left out, you know, like this mustardy tone probably only pairs really well with those two. And this is even a duochrome, so part of it shifts purple, as you can see, and then like it has a green shift to it, which, you know, the green shift is fine, but the purple flip doesn't necessarily match this mustardy color. I don't know, still one of my favorite Adept palettes. Heather Austin collab. I like the mattes in here better, and Heather does a lot of like chunky foiled, which are hard to work with, but they're so freaking stunning. The reason I like these mattes more is because like I feel like you can transition, deepen, use it with this shade. Same thing with this, transition, deepen, and they pair with a lot of these mattes. So it makes sense in terms of the tones of the mattes. And then Bella Beauty Bar, still arguably one of my favorite palettes from Bella Beauty Bar, the Star-Crossed Lovers. I want to say this was my favorite palette of 2023. Wow, you can see like it's already leaking. The color story, delicious. The shimmers, delicious. They're all over the place too. You get these like flat multi-chromes, and then you get, I don't even know what to hit. Like Bella Beauty Bar, I'm telling you guys, she just does it. Kristen, I'm sorry, nothing she touches sucks. So, needless to say, I'm holding on to that. I have 2 Glaminatrix palettes. I think these are my only 2 in my collection because the shipping, the international shipping sometimes deters me from buying palettes. I love the Sugar and Spice palette. This and the Star-Crossed Lovers palette, my 2 favorite palettes. Actually, wait, 1, 2, 3. These were my 3 favorite palettes from last year. I didn't try a whole ton, like I just dipped my toes into indie brands, but there was something fabulous about this. Glaminatrix and Bella Beauté Bar do like similar things where you get chunky and then you get these flat multi-chromes. The mattes always perform so much better than you think they would, and just the different formulas in here. I don't know what it is about Glaminatrix and Bella Beauté Bar that really just like have my heart, but they do. And then the Nearly Natural palette, this is great for every day. So as far as like neutral palettes go, you know, if I'm thinking a little bit burgundy or a little bit neutral or pops of green, this one definitely does it for me. So speaking of which, I think I am gonna pass this one, the Saga of Freya, along because I don't know, I'm just thinking about it and it's time to go. All right, here is my collection from Unique Beauty. Now they have moved sites. So they're using like their pop-up store from their Instagram page. I don't know. I can't exactly remember. If I can, I'll pop it up on the screen. But a lot of these are no longer available for purchase. I don't know if they're planning to like bring them back, but they were amazing. These were some of my favorite shadows of all of 2022 and 2023. I'm trying to cover these ones because they're reflective. These are their newest releases that came out last year. And I want to say they came out with 5 color stories. And I am so upset at myself for not getting all 5. This one, a little bit leaning too warm for me. I like warm tones, but when I put it on, I was like, dang, that's warm. Like it's really intensely pigmented, warm tones. And I think it was a little bit much, but they do very similar things in their palettes where you get these really nice different formulas and the mattes are solid. That's how I feel about Glaminatrix and Bella Beauté Bar. So Unique Beauty is up there in terms of like the quality that I like. I'm sorry, I didn't even say what that one was. Everyday Diva. And then this one, also kind of a warm tone palette, but like, again, stunning. I mean, it's not like a totally unique multi-chrome. It doesn't matter, you know? You just get so many different variety of shimmers in one little palette, you know? It's really fun to play around. So again, yes, arguably a pretty warm toned palette, not a deepening shade to be seen in this palette in terms of like the mattes, but still love the quality though, I'm not gonna lie. All right, let's move on to the last one. It's Giving Main Character, which is the all shimmer one that released. And they had a green one come out and I'm mad that I didn't get the green one. Anyway, this is freaking stunning. So I love all of these. Now these are their little 6 pans. This was the Pamper Me, I think, the Me, Myself, and I Pamper Me palette. Not a lot like in terms of mattes, but if I could, let me just swatch this one for you guys. But like the deliciousness that comes out of these little things shocks me. So, ta-da, love it. All right, I gotta stop swatching or I'm literally gonna run out of wet wipes. All right, this one is the Japan Volume 1 palette. So good, so good. This shade, you could swatch all the way down your arm. Same with the Fuji shade. Even though it's not like a totally cohesive color story for, I don't care, it's delicious. This is the Africa Tribes palette. Again, shimmers here, delicious. Oh, this is the Pamper Me one. I'm sorry, that was the Me, Myself, and I one over here. This one, again, delicious. The mattes, weird, don't go together, but the formulas are really good. Plus, I absolutely love traveling with these. When I go, okay, I'm just gonna grab this like neutral tone and then just pair it with a shimmer, which ends up being like the whole look. I have traveled with these so many times. And also these are, pretty sure these are hand pressed. Like they're all different heights too. So like you can see this one's a little bit more inset than the other ones. I don't know if that's obvious, but Anyway, I think Africa Volume 2 is this one. Because I had the Volume 1, I think this is Volume 2. One of my favorite palettes in my entire collection. This is one that kind of has like a transition, a buffing shade, a deepening shades, and 3 beautiful shimmers. So if you can ever like get your hands on those again, I would highly recommend you check them out. I have my MAC palettes here, so I figure we could just go over those next. I told you guys I would hypothetically get rid of the one that they released for Valentine's Day, but these ones here, the Connect and Color series, I love them. They were some of my favorites for last year, and I don't think I'm ready to part with any of them, even though the color story on some of these wasn't my favorite. These shimmers are just so light and everyday, and there was just, like, I don't know, a nice array of cool tones. This was the Encrypted Kryptonite palette. This one was Rose Lens, arguably my least favorite of all of these. Just 2 matte shades, I guess, kind of did it. And then Bronze Influence, which was nice. But my absolute favorite was definitely the Embedded in Burgundy. I freaking loved Embedded in Burgundy. This freaking thing, like, it's so neutral and everyday, and these shimmers were so light and just like everyday appropriate, but the mattes were all super buttery and soft and required virtually no work. Like, I'm trying to get everything in frame, but it's not going to work. Anyway, that's all of them. And then they had 2, I think, larger ones. This was the like warm toned option essentially. And they had like a colorful one as well. Anyway, I'm not ready to part with any of these. These are also like good neutral palettes to travel with as well. But I will definitely be getting rid of that other one when I'm done with my ranking, because that just didn't feel like the same formula as this series. Okay, so I ended up getting rid of just these 4 from that whole section, but it wasn't 0, so I feel pretty good about anything that I get rid of. I'm making such a decent pile, and some of my drawers are getting freed up at this point. So here's the last basket of the new stuff that I hauled. So I haven't tried any one of these yet. None of these are like newer releases, but this was part of like all of the indie brand shadows that I've been hauling. So let's just go over these. I'm not getting rid of any of them, obviously, but just so you guys can see. So I got the Fairy Frolic palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. I really like the boxes that Unearthly sends with them. I think it does probably like jack up the price of the cost of the palette. So I could even see just like skipping it so you didn't have to pay as much. This is definitely an older palette of theirs, but I wanted to try more of the Unearthly Cosmetics formula. So got this one. It's a nice fall vibe. All right, I think I'll just put this up. I don't need to put it back in the box anymore. However, I'd like to hold on to the box because I think it's pretty cool. And then I picked up another one from Bella Beauté Bar because I told you I'm obsessed. And I think this is now sold out, but this is the Strange and Unusual palette. So cool. The landscapers just got here, so I think we're totally gonna hear them outside because they're like right outside the window at the current moment, so I'm sorry. And then I picked up two from Fantasy Cosmetica. These 2 color stories just spoke to me a little bit more. This is the Druid palette. It's grungier. I don't know, something about the grungier tones right now, even though they're like more fall color stories, I don't know, they're just appealing to me. And then the Warlock palette. So I haven't tried Fantasy Cosmetica at all. I think my last one that I picked up from Unearthly was the Don't Be Jelly palette. So now I have, what, 4 Unearthly Cosmetics palettes, including the Spring Magic palette that just released. I think that part of this, I just like loved the packaging too. But some of these shimmer tones are really cool. That magnetic shade came loose. Actually, these 2 did. Like, I might not get like use out of these 2 colors out here, but I think I'll get use out of all of the mattes on this. And it's like set up like the Devour palette, so I think it'll have a similar formula to that one. And by the way, this is like the remastered version. The original was like, I don't know, not even in that same style. I have one palette from DD Signature. Oh wow, they're like right outside the window. The Neutral Wonder eyeshadow palette, and I also have her new release, the Cappuccino Latte palette or something. Then that should be here, I want to say tomorrow maybe, or Monday. Wow, I haven't even used this and it's like already leaked into the pan. These are beautiful tones though, and they're all like, again, different formulas here. And additionally, like it goes like in a gradient pattern. So I think I'm gonna like it. I don't think the mattes swatched perfectly, but because I've only like swatched these shades and they're already leaking, I'm a little bit concerned that they're going to like lose their creaminess pretty quickly. Oh, one more from Bella Beauty Bar, the Basic Witch. I'm sorry. Bella Beauty Bar, just everything she touches turns to gold in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure this one is also sold out too. I waited for this one to like come back in stock. Again, you guys, if you're interested in checking out anything from her site, my code KARIMegan, 10% off. It is an affiliated code. Give Me Glow Cosmetics. I haven't tried this one yet, although I tried the Vintage Rose I showed you earlier. Is not terribly like dissimilar in both color story and the layout and the shimmer formula. However, this one has like a multi-chrome up here. So anyway, I got the hammer to refocus. I really enjoy the Give Me Glow formula so far. All right, my one and only Blend Bunny Cosmetics palette that I picked up the Sickly Sweet palette because I wanted to try something outside of my comfort zone. So I picked this up just because, like, as far as pastels go, I'm not hugely into pastels, but these have some deep shades here. She also has one, I think, that is like also pastels, but it has like deep shades in it, which I'd be interested in trying, but I want to test this formula out first before I go and buy another palette, because I feel like Blend Bunny is just maybe a little bit more expensive than some of the other ones that I've been hauling, although that could be 100% in my head. And the last two that I have are from Clarity Cosmetics. I have tested the Clarity Cosmetics formula, but I haven't tested like this style. I just tested their new release. And both of these I think are discontinued now. This is Lily. Look at this shade. It's like delicious. It's like a green to orange to pink multi-chrome. So pretty. So far, swatching this formula feels amazing. And a little bit different than the Deadly Rose palette that I showed you guys earlier. Okay, and then finally, the Bloom palette. This shade here came broken, so it's still sort of falling apart. I've repressed it, but it's still a little bit loose in there. Anyway, this one is like fun too in terms of like the shimmer formula, just from swatching it. Okay, this is the last section. This is all my Huda, Natasha, Pat. I don't have a huge collection. And then over to the side here, I have two House Labs. So most of these are staying, so I'm gonna be just kind of like showing you in terms of like collection video. Let's just start with Natasha. Let's start with these midi palettes here. So the Retro Glam palette, arguably my least favorite of all of them. It just isn't a pastel color story of my dreams, but I feel like a collector at this point, so I'm gonna hold on to it. I Need a Nude I really like for a very neutral look. A lot of these shimmers were pretty nice, but again, some of them are kind of feeling like a little bit hard pressed in there. Kind of something I probably want to just like break up a little bit, kind of like I did, I think, the Oden's Eye ones, because they start getting hard pressed like the more you press your finger down to apply the shimmer to the lid. But I really liked this. It's just like kind of unassuming, you know, and the mattes here just perform really well. I kind of wish this one wasn't a cream though, like this deeper shade was like a full matte. That would have made this palette so much better because you could really deepen in the outer corner, whereas this kind of acts as like a liner for me. One of my favorites, actually, is the Yucca palette. Something about these shimmers are delectable. They're just different. They're almost like duochromy and like multi-chromy. So there's something about this particular palette in the shimmer formula that I really enjoy. Again, could do without like the creams. Just not an added bonus for me in terms of formulation. I wish all of them were matte. I don't know the reasoning behind adding some of those creams in there, but I would look at this and think this is the least neutral looking, and so maybe the one I would like the least, but it is absolutely the palette, my favorite palette from Natasha. And then I think second is probably the My Dream palette. I love deeper burgundy tones. She also has another like duochrome in here, multi-chrome, and then this fiery shade here is Delicious. So yes, I think one of these again is a cream that I could do without. I think both Edgy and Instinct are like a cream formula. So my third favorite is this little pinky toned Mauve Dream, the retro palette. Easy and simple, you know? All right, this has to be actually my least favorite. I don't know what to do with this. This is not a standalone palette for me. It's not the blackest of blacks. This is like a creamy blue shade, you know? It's like a gunmetal color almost. It's not like fully black. I like the shimmers, but I have them. And Natasha doesn't have the best shimmers, you know, when you compare against like indie brand shadows. I don't think they compare. They're just nice everyday formula, and I think that's what's appealing. Maybe I like this one the least. Now I have one of the larger ones, the Sunset palette, which I wasn't a huge fan of, and a lot of these tones are pretty similar, and the shimmer formula didn't knock my socks off, so I'm going to declutter this one. Well, let's see, here's all the minis, and I actually think I'm going to get rid of one of these. So these two I want to say are subscription box exclusives. This one is Jubilee, which I actually freaking love. I've worn this shimmer and like people are like, oh my gosh, what palette are you using? This is a deep blue kind of satin shade. Something about this, I really enjoy the color story. I think it's funky and I like it. I like it funky. I don't know. A lot of people didn't like that one, but I like how funky it is. All right, this one right here, I think I don't need. This is the Cupid palette. I don't even think I've used this shade out here. Like, it's all right. I don't need it though, so I'm gonna pass it along. I have the Mini Star palette, which I like. It's a fun duochrome here. Again, these are really good for travel. And then I have the Mini Retro palette. I don't know, this one's not like my overall favorite, but again, for something super light and simple, it's nice. And then finally for these little minis, I have the Mini Love palette. The Mini Star was by itself, but I never got the Love palette. What's the big one called? Maybe just the Love palette. So, you know, these aren't like duplicates. The only one I feel like is obviously the duplicate here is the retro, because I have the retro in the full size. All right, let's go through Huda next. I'm not getting rid of any of these. For the most part, I feel like she does a really good job with the shimmers and the mattes. I would say, I'm over here like really struggling to get this open. I would say, you know, like some indie brands obviously do it like better than this formula, but I'm usually just not disappointed either. And I want to say like half of this is grungy and the other half is like warm toned vibes. So I feel like you get kind of two different like sections out of this palette. That's how I feel about it. But I do really enjoy the pretty grunge, Mercury Retrograde, a fun one, a lot of people's favorites. Yeah, it's just fun. It's light. I can open that one. The Naughty palette, nice, like warm tone neutrals. I feel like most of these are warm tones. Obviously there's some cool tones in here, but like what, 1, 2? Anyway, this is good. I even thought that this slippery shade was kind of fun. So yes, the Nude palette, could have done without the 2 pressed glitters, that's for sure. This is not my favorite shimmer palette formula. Like these speckled ones, that's all you basically get in this one, except that shade right there. That's the only other kind of standard shimmer formula. So I think that the speckled is like creamy, but it's not my favorite. And the pressed glitters, I know this is one of her older palettes. I just thought I would kind of mention that. And then Rose Quartz is pretty damn good. Like to pull some of these back out too to get more use out of them. I like the Empowered palette, but I would have to say this is probably my least favorite of hers. I find these like weird textures not super attractive for me, and it's primarily warm tones. So I don't know, this is my least favorite. Plus I ended up like ripping off accidentally like half of the cover on this. Let's go look at these 2 Haus Labs palettes. So she came out with the neutrals. What are these called? The super neutrals, volume 1 and 2. So Haus Labs had a bio glitter formula in here, and then mattes that were infused with a ton of skincare, probably meant to be a little bit more desaturated. Now the glitters are a really nice formula, the bio glitters, and I held onto these palettes through my last declutter because I put them in a chopping block. And I said that I wanted to hold on to them for the purposes of like comparing like if she came out with different formulas. but I'm never going to reach for these and I want to make room. So even though I decided to hold on to them for the unique Bio Glitter formula, I'm going to pass these along. These mattes are freaking awful. They're terrible. They're powdery, they're desaturated, you can't build up pigmentation, you start blending and they blend away. Not my cup of tea personally, so I'm gonna pass those along. Let's go into Pat McGrath. I don't have a huge collection. This little mini is the mini eyeshadow palette in Sublime Smoke. I freaking love this little thing. It's such a good, like, simple neutral palette. I love it. I adore this thing. It's like one of my favorite palettes from Pat. I also like this. This was the Celestial Nirvana and Nude Allure. I want to say this was like a holiday release. This is like a satin kind of matte, and all of these are like everyday shimmer shades. It's such an easy, quick, neutral palette. Now these little quads, this one was Passion Fleur. I do not love because it has just the one purpley matte, but I love these two shimmers from her. This is like a sparkly foiled deliciousness, and this is like this nice kind of like kind of fiery orange shade. But look at this one. I don't know, for whatever reason, I just really enjoy the shimmer formula in this palette, even though I hate the matte. It's just like too purpley, like too childlike, I think. It's not a deep enough purple. It comes out very light purple, and something about it just isn't flattering. Now this one in Voyeuristic Vixen, I love it. This is like a duochrome over here. This is a delicious sparkly shade. That's one of your like standard shimmer formulas, but I love this matte in the outer corner. I'm keeping those. I'm not getting rid of any of my Pat palettes. This one is Mothership 11, I think. The Sunlit Seduction. I want to say this is her most recent Mothership palette. This one here is Mothership 7 in Divine Rose. Like, are they so similar? I don't know. I mean, this was my first one from Pat, and I definitely was super impressed with the formula, but also I think she's got some interesting like textures in these foiled shimmer shades, because you know she has these like Astral Blitz shades, which this one's starting to get a little bit powdery, but like that was her delicious formula that everybody kind of loved, that made a lot of these palettes pretty unique. That one swatched terribly. This one feels super dry, but these are very different. They're these creamy, let me swatch here, delicious, is this even like a duochrome? Like probably. That one's like super sparkly. So a lot of people were like, well, they're very similar tones. I mean, yeah, they kind of are, but the shimmers are definitely different. She doesn't have anything like this in here. Like even this one is mostly like kind of a glittery topper, where these ones feel more like creamy, kind of indie brand shadow foiled shimmers, if you will. So even though the matte tones are fairly similar, I still feel like you get a little bit of differentiation between the two palettes. I have one in limited edition packaging. This is the Divine Rose 2, so Mothership 8. You got this hot pink, this multi-chrome here, special, like this soft gold Astral Blitz shade. It's just different. I don't feel like any of my three palettes are repeating, but I also don't feel the need to build my collection more. Okay, I have the December of 21 Christmas release. I like it because, you know, it's pretty standard, but like the shimmer formula isn't bad. There's just no Astral Blitz shades in here. So anyway, I like this. It's a little bit light, kind of maybe on the mattes, but this little guy just showed up in the mail. This was the new release from Dee Dee Signature. So we might as well take a look at this on camera. It's the ultimate cappuccino. I was like, cappuccino latte. Like, that's redundant and an oxymoron because they're not the same thing, Carrie. Anyway, let's just take a look at it together. Interesting. Like some fun colors, but a deepening shade. Nice. You could pair like a lot of these tones together. And she did that same thing again, where it's like softer, less soft, not soft, multi-chrome. She always like does this in a row where all of her shimmers are very different. So I'm totally interested to see how this matte formula performs. I think these will be good, but the mattes, like I'm really interested to see what she does with the matte formula overall. Now, I do have a bunch of Game Beauty that I was sent in PR, And we can look at them just for, you know, the collection sake of this video, but I'm not going to do any swatching of anything because I'm going to do a dedicated video on them. All right, well, I was talking away there and I forgot to hit the record button again. So anyway, I was just saying that I had reached out to Game Beauty. I put in an application to get a discount code essentially, and they were like, sure. And then they gave me a $200 gift card so that I could pick out some items that I liked. And I was like, wow, you know, I was super thrilled that they responded. And so I was able to pick out 5 palettes and then a couple of lashes and liners. And I didn't even think they were gonna send like the lashes and liners to me because they came separately, but they totally did. And I was like, wow, like I was just super grateful. Anyway, I'm dying to get into these. I think what I'm gonna do is like even though these are not new releases, like dedicated day for each of these palettes and like put it in a cumulative video. This one I think is 01 of the Elemental Blast. No, 03 Geo. I want to just do one look with each of these palettes and like put it in a video. I love it when small brands like respond, or indie brands, and they're willing to collaborate with smaller creators. It just makes me feel good. It makes me want to support the brand moving forward, where some of them, you know, they haven't responded so great to me. This little shade right here looks delicious. Anyway, even if it's not a color story that I love, I still feel like I would buy it just to support the small brand, because our love makes the world go round, the middle class and indie brands, okay? So we got to treat each other right is how I think about it. Look at this one. Look at this multi-chrome. I want to swatch it so badly. This just looks like a super fun spring color story. Like, it's monochromatic, but something about it just screams yes to me. That was 01 Pyro. Oh, by the way, I have loved gaming pretty much my whole life. I stopped kind of when I became a mom. I got back into gaming. I don't know, I think it was probably when COVID hit and we were stuck at home a lot of the time. And yeah, my screen name is Raging Mom 37. I thought that's hilarious. Anyway, I really do like gaming. 04 Dendro is all green, but doesn't that look fun? I can't wait to swatch this. Looks like a translucent multi-chrome that shifts green. I'm sorry, but the quality looks stunning on these. And then I picked up 2 of the Adventure palettes. I didn't get all of them. Not every single one of the color stories appealed to me, but these 2 did. I don't know if they're the same quality, but we'll see. Guess it's Adventure and Harbinger, I shouldn't have called it, but like this style palette. They had several other color stories like this. Well, now it's upside down. Okay. I don't know. It looks fun. It kind of looks like a pressed glitter. I don't know. The other Elemental palettes kind of look like more appealing to me, but we'll check it out. We will. Okay, very last one, the Harbinger palette, which I do believe opens like this. Yes. Yeah. Not as exciting as the Elemental palettes, but still interested to test out like this formula and this style packaging. All right, you guys, that was everything. All of the palettes that I have for collection and the declutter. I'll show you guys the stuff that I am decluttering. Okay, I ended up getting rid of 45 palettes. Does that make you guys feel good? It makes me feel good. And not all of these are like the expensive ones. A lot of these are like some more affordable ones. Kind of maybe minus the ABH, but I still feel like shedding these was good because I will ignore all of these. For whatever reason, there's something about them that makes me ignore them. But I also got rid of a ton of like single eye products as well. Oh, no, I was wrong. I left out some palettes. 47, 46, 47, 48, 49 palettes. Okay, almost 50. That's not bad, actually. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're not currently subscribed, I would love to see you subscribe, you guys. I won't be linking any of the palettes below, but you guys, I will have my discount codes down there for the brands that I do have discounts with. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out of here. Hope to catch you all in the next one. Bye.